United Nations overseas. Train assassins do search and seize. Ain't knocking or asking. They're coming for niggas like me. White, white trash like they. Tricks like her. Back in slavery. Concentration camps. Slaves with gas pipelines. Infernos outdoors like they had back when they don't. Hitler was living in 1945. Listen to me now. Believe me later on. In the future. Look at where they see. In the Constitution that in the event of a race war. Place like Operation Heartbreak Hotel. Almost tight vent. Still off despair. They'll say expect no worse. Fool, you should be my least worst. Got a deal. W2 10 99. On mark, black helicopters swoop down and try to put missiles in mine. Who's that peeking in my window? Nobody now. Who's that peeking in my window? Nobody now.
Me and my family moved in our apartment complex. A gate with the serial code was put up next. They came to this community and sold drug free, but it don't look that way to me. Cause I can see the young boys hanging out at the store. 24/7 junkies looking for a hit of the blow. It's powerful. Oh, you know what else they trying to do? Make a curfew, especially for me and you. The traces of the new world order. Time is getting shoulder. If we don't get prepared, people, it's gonna be a slaughter. My mind won't allow me to not be curious. My folks don't understand, so they don't take it serious. But every now and then, I wonder if the gate was put up to keep crime out of keep our ass in.
Who's that peeking in my window? Who's that peeking in my window?
Yeah, we in the house. Yeah, we in the house. Salute. Salute. We are back. Yep. Got some people falling into the house. You know what? Let me make sure that we're good. Give me one moment. No, it's been about a week, right? You know, we were not in the house last week, but those of you who you know, may have normally been around, I'm sure you got the memo, so that's cool. So that there were no surprises there. But I am glad to be back with you once again. And, oh, by the way, just to give the official greeting, I'd like to welcome you all to another exciting episode of the Knight Riders Squad Cast. And as per usual, we're going to get it in the way we do over here. And we got a lot of ground to cover. You know, it's going to be a fire broadcast. You know, like I said, you know, we had some things to do, so we were not in the house last week. But it will be made up tonight in spades. So just you wait and just strap in. And we're going to get this thing cracking. So, yeah, like I said, I see a few people. See somebody coming in and out of the house. You know what? I noticed that initially, I think our connection is good now, but I think at first it was choppy. So I'm not sure because I run a little rehearsal before, you know, just to test the system, but it looked good. And then when I went live, then all of a sudden it started getting choppy. So, you know, we got a new intro there for you. So that was the first time, you know, we put that out there. So I'm not sure if it's calibrated for the system yet, but we're going to look into that. So that might have confused some people because I think it may have kind of went in and out because I saw some people trying to come into the house and then they kind of went in and out. So anyway, hopefully you guys can hear me. I believe we are good to go. So when you guys fall into the house, let me know. Yeah, we're going to get into some things because there's been a lot going on since I was with you last, and we're going to get right into it. Just as a brief synopsis, we're going to talk about, initially, I got some clips to show you that are pretty interesting. I think we're going to start out dealing with the economy and the Trump tariffs. And, we talked about this before, and if you had not had an opportunity, go and check out that video I dropped a few weeks back regarding the tariffs. I thought it was pretty comprehensive, and we kind of, predicted some of this stuff that's going on right now. But, yeah, we're going to touch on that briefly here tonight. And we're going to talk about some other things. Obviously the topic is these women, the modern westernized women. They are tired, apparently, and they have been out here really acting a fool, just kind of going in on the fact that, based on the choices that they've made, they have pretty much decided that maybe it wasn't the best decision, but rather than, take ownership of that, as per usual, they're going to like to scapegoat responsibility and, come out complaining. But I have a pretty interesting take on this whole situation because we got some very profound things to say about this and some very interesting clips to show. But yeah, when we get into that, you're going to, definitely see what we're talking about when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to the other thing that I want to touch on a little bit before we get into the main topic, apparently Umar, as we affectionately call the Cookie Monster, I believe he may have responded to something that I said, and I'm gonna show you guys later, and it's pretty interesting. So just sit tight. We're gonna touch on that, as I say, after we get past some of these initial clips. And we're going to touch on a couple other things, but yeah, we're going to have to touch on that because, again, even though that's not the topic, you know how we do over here. I always am willing to address any smoke or anything that someone says, or if we, for whatever reason, gets some information incorrect, I have no problem correcting that. But we're going to talk about it, so sit tight. But like I said, initially, what we're going to do is get into some of these clips. I want to touch on the economy and these tariffs, and we got that queued up, so we're going to go ahead and load that clip. And as you guys fall into the house, as per usual, wipe your feet at the door, and if you so choose, announce who you are, or you can sit back in the shadows and just enjoy. That's fine too. But at any rate, we're going to go ahead and get it going. So let's go ahead and get this first clip loaded. So let's go.
Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%.
Now, obviously, there's some specific reasons why Trump is giving certain countries, I guess like the UK, 10% as opposed to other countries that would be considered allies, such as Japan and South Korea, and their tariffs are like 24 and 25% respectively. We're going to get into that and something that's going on over there, which is crazy because they're actually drawing or bringing China, Japan, and Korea closer together, which is a very interesting turn of events considering all the beef that those countries have among themselves. So we're going to get into that shortly, but let's go. said only the weak will fail.
But how can they do that when their economies are crashing and they are now?
No, their economies are not crashing. The markets are reacting. No, their economies are not crashing. Their markets are reacting to a dramatic change in the global order in terms of trade. So I don't think it's fair to say economies are crashing. Markets are crashing because markets are based on the stock value of companies who today are embedded in modes of production that are bad for the United States.
And China, it says China has already reacted with an imposition of a 34% tariff on imports of all U.S. products. So that's crazy. So the problem with the relationship between the United States and China when it comes to these tariffs is the fact that China basically manufactures everything that the United States is using. So that is the problem. As like I mentioned in the other video that I made, is that you have a situation where China is producing so much of the vital things that America needs. It's kind of going to be a kind of a backfire, especially when, as I mentioned before, the psychotropics and the active ingredients that goes in medications that America needs, and not even just the active ingredients, but all kinds of other things are manufactured in China. Got my man Israel, Young Lion, in the house. Salute, bro. Good to see you. Been a while, yeah, because I know we were not here last week, but I'm glad to see you in the house. And yeah, we're gonna have to drop a panel discussion, Israel. Like I said, I think the maybe not next week, but the week after that, I'm gonna have a panel discussion. And I think I'm going to see if you can come on up. A salute for being in the house. But yeah, let's get back to this video. Like I said, it's crazy because China's already starting to retaliate. And they said they have a 34% tariff on all imports for U.S. products. So that's crazy. Let's go. Yeah, so that was that one. So let's get into this next clip, and this is once again dealing with the impact that a lot of these tariffs are going to have on the everyday folks, because I think a lot of you may even be starting to feel the pinch, because this is not something that has a delayed type situation. This right here is something that you're going to feel almost immediately when it comes to these tariffs. But let's get this video right here. Yeah, salute to everybody who's still in the house, and yeah, Israel let himself be known. So Israel, if you're still in the house, let me know that you can hear me loud and clear and that you can hear the clips. So you know how we do when we get started, we want to make sure everything is crisp, everything can be heard. So just want to make sure that you guys are able to hear that, because I am in the process of handling the broadcast, so I can't listen.
John, just
without kind of taking me away from the broadcast, so I want to get that feedback from you. He said, this looks like this is going to be a good show. Yeah, you know how it is, Israel, as per usual. But you can hear everything loud and clear, right, bro? Yeah, make sure that you can hear the clips as well.
a few minutes ago, President Trump returned to his Mar-a-Lago resort after spending the day at his golf club. But he also spent the day very active on social media, trying to convince Americans of what he is saying. He's saying even though the markets are spiraling right now, ultimately they will boom. And he had some pretty direct messages. First, to the investors who might be spooked about pouring more money into the U.S. He said that my policies will never.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Israel confirmed everything's clear. Cool, let's get it.
Change, and this is a great time to get rich. He also criticized China for those retaliatory tariffs on American exports, saying that Beijing played this wrong. But the president also revealed that when he said he is ready to negotiate, he means it. He said he was on the phone today with the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, and he claims that that leader says Vietnam wants to bring the tariffs down to zero.
Yeah, he had Vietnam with like 40 something percent. That's crazy. I wonder what was behind that, because that's even higher, I believe, than what he did with China. I don't know. Maybe he's holding a grudge from the Vietnam War or something. I'm really not clear as to why he hit them with such a high tariff as opposed to some of the other countries. But let's go.
For American goods if they are able to strike a deal. And he said that the two countries will be in touch in the coming days. And then finally, President Trump had a direct message for the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. This is not the first time he has sent this message, but he says to Powell that this is the time right now to cut interest rates. And he said it in all caps, John, which if you have seen any of Trump's posts, you know, that's when he really wants to emphasize something, saying cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing politics. Now, recently in the Oval Office, I asked President Trump if he thought that the Fed should listen to him, and he said yes. John?
Okay, so he looks like he's trying to get the Fed to cut rates. You know, I'm not sure if that will help the situation. I mean, that would, you know, free up some of the money supply, but if it creates more liquidity, then that could, you know, just help contribute to inflation. So I'm not exactly sure you know, the thinking behind that strategy as well. But yep, you guys are gonna find out there shortly in the States, that's for sure. Yeah, let's talk about well, I got this other clip about the relationship between the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Koreans, how they're coming together as a result of this. So let's go. And what I find so weird...
China, Japan, and South Korea held the first trade talks in 5 years on Sunday, amid concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's import...
Yeah, so it's like this one act is bringing together all of the problems that they had. I mean, these people have been at each other's throat since, I think, World War II or whatever. They have grievances from that, but this one tariff situation, all of a sudden, they're putting aside their differences. And, you know, I've never seen them more buddy-buddy in the past few decades, but let's go.
Tariffs. The three Asian manufacturing giants agreed to, quote, closely cooperate for a comprehensive and high-level talks to improve free trade in the region. That's according to a statement released after the meeting. Trade ministers from the three nations met ahead of Trump's planned announcement on Wednesday of more tariffs in what he calls, quote, Liberation Day. Last week, Trump announced 25% import tariffs on cars and auto parts, a move that may hurt companies, especially Asian automakers, which are among the largest vehicle exporters to the U.S. Seoul, Beijing, and Tokyo are major U.S. trading partners, although they have been at loggerheads among themselves. Disagreements over issues, including territorial disputes, have prevented them from making any substantial progress on a...
Man, they up there ripping up each other's flags and everything, but they coming together now. That's crazy. Let's get it.
Trilateral free trade deal since starting talks in 2012. The ministers agreed to hold their next ministerial meeting in Japan.
All right, and then I think we got a video on Trump's response, so we're going to get that real quick. Let's go. I'll go ahead and pull this up. And we cover this type of information.
China, Japan, and South Korea are...
We cover this type of information, guys, so that it kind of ties into what we tell you to be prepared and to pay attention to the world news and to make sure that no matter what happens, you are positioning yourself and that you are aware of this. That's the reason why, I want to give you my perspective on these particular things. And, some of you also reach out and I say I got a couple appointments coming next week. People want to chop it up. And I encourage you to do that because you definitely need to get some direct guidance and coaching and counseling in terms of how to navigate what's coming, because it's going to be crazy. But let's get some more of this video.
Uniting to counter President Trump's auto tariffs.
China, South Korea, and Japan say they're going to work together in cooperation to respond to the tariffs that you're going to put into effect this week. Are you concerned that this move of the tariffs this week could push some of the United States' closest allies to work with China?
No, I'm not worried about it.
The countries aim to offset costs from Trump's...
That's funny. Trump just said no, he's not worried about it. I kind of think he should be, not necessarily worried, but I think he should be concerned in terms of how that's all materializing, because it could definitely be a negative impact. But, we'll see if he, has something up his sleeve. But let's go.
Tariffs on auto imports. Japan and South Korea will import semiconductor raw materials from China, while Beijing will secure chip products from them. This move followed a weekend conference where trade ministers agreed to cooperate on a South Korean-Japan-China free trade agreement. Despite U.S. efforts to strengthen ties with Tokyo to counter China's military, Japan is deepening economic ties with both China and South Korea. Trump's 25% tariffs on all cars not made in the U.S., set to take effect April 2nd, will significantly impact these major auto product suppliers.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys. So it's kind of crazy. I think a lot of people are not really understanding the impact that a lot of this stuff is going to have, but I think you're going to find out in the not too distant future. So, but again, just keep your eyes on everything. Tune in to what we're talking about. Reach out if you have any questions, and we'll go from there. So we're going to get into some other little clips that I thought were interesting, and I wanted you guys to see a couple things. Just to warm up everything, make sure that things are working, and do know how we kind of prime the pump before we get into the heavy work. So let me just share a couple things here. Oh, I found this to be interesting. Here's a little clip of Chicago back in the 1930s. I kind of like history and stuff like this, so let's just a little short clip. I think that was during the days of Al Capone. I'm sure you guys have heard of him, right? During the Great Depression in the 30s, how Chicago looked. But yeah, Chicago was notorious for the like I said, the Al Capones and the mafia and all that back in the day with the bootleggers and the, during the Depression, when, during Prohibition, when they had outlawed alcohol, and then you had those guys such as Al Capone and, those guys who were involved in that. And Chicago was kind of like a central place. But I just felt this was interesting because I actually know this area where that clock is. And so, to see it back in the 30s colorized, it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to play this little short clip. And one thing you notice about the 30s, these are just regular people, but look how dapper everybody looks. It's crazy. And Israel says, yeah, they said Chicago used to be the city for black Muslims in the early 1900s. Yeah, that's why the one of the major mosques is located in Chicago. Yeah, it was definitely a major place, not just for that, but for many black schools of thought. Something you could relate to, even the Hebrews and a bunch of other groups definitely got their start, or they were definitely heavily involved in what was going on in Chicago. Because Chicago's always been kind of a strategic headquarters for a lot of black positions. And I don't know if you know this, but it was actually founded by a black man. He set up the first cottage in Chicago, but when it was basically a swamp, and he was one of the first ones that, because people started building cottages along the lake. And so there's a black man, John Baptiste DuSable, who I believe was Haitian, which Israel, I think you're part Haitian as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. So that's how it became kind of like this central place for black people. It's one of the unique cities in America that has that kind of legacy. My man Shadow Zulu is in the house. Salute, fam. Good to see you. But yeah, let's play a little bit more. Yeah, I was just talking about how classy everybody looked back there in the 30s. And this was during the Great Depression. So you had all these people still looking dapper, downtown Chicago. You go down there now, it looks horrible. I mean, the city still looks good. I think Chicago's still one of the best looking cities, but just like a lot of American cities, the population itself is just definitely not this well ordered and well groomed and, people walking around looking dapper like that. You just don't see it no more. So it's crazy. But let's get a little bit more. Yep. So that was nice little kill. Okay, you're Israel. Yeah. So he says, yes, I have majority Haitian roots. Yeah, because I do remember you telling me that. I wasn't sure if you were like you had one parent that was Haitian, or maybe you could break that down for me, because I do remember you saying you had some significant Haitian roots. So yeah, let me get this other clip. This is a little throwback clip from the 70s, man. This is when some of these women took pride in their hair. So check this out. And what did Shadow say? He said, if you type the father of Chicago on Google, you will see a Haitian cat. As a result, yeah, that's who I mentioned, John Baptiste Ponte du Sable. Yeah, I think you may have just came into the house when I mentioned him. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. And in fact, there's a bust dedicated to him. If you ever go to Chicago and you want to see it, there's actually a museum on the south side near the Museum of Science and Industry, which is, well, I think that's probably my favorite museum of all time, because I remember going there, being, as a child, and always had a very good time there at Museum of Science and Industry. And then I also like the DuSable Museum that's nearby there, and it's named after him. But then there's also a little statue or a bust to him if you go, I think, around the Chicago River over the bridge near the Wrigley building. Then there's a dedication to DuSable as well. So, but let's get it. Dreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Now you notice back then, it's so funny that these women complain about them not being able to do a goddamn thing with their hair, and somehow, they are lost and they don't know how to do their hair, and they got to put a damn wig on and weave because it's a quote protective style. How come these women back in the 70s didn't have that kind of problem? How come they knew exactly what to do with their hair? They would grab some damn Afro Sheen, like this commercial, or they'll get some damn Royal Crown grease. You know what I'm saying? That red can, that green ass. Because I remember the women in my family were using that damn grease. They had a nice smell to it too, that Royal Crown. Y'all know what I'm talking about in that red can? Yeah, you got to be a real one to know what I'm talking about with that. But isn't it amazing that these women kind of didn't take all this maintenance back in the day, which is kind of going to tie in perfectly to when we get into the main topic. But it's crazy how they could be back then with less technology, probably less resources, but they knew exactly what to do with their hair. It's amazing. And then Israel says, both my parents and grandparents are Haitian and partially Syrian due to my great grandmother. Okay, cool. And like I told you, Israel, I'm not sure how you came about the knowledge of the fact that you have some Syrian ancestry, but I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of the ancient Syrians. Now, I don't know what part of Syria or which era that you're connected to, but if you go back far enough, the ancient Syrians were actually black, and maybe you're mixed with the ones that are non-black. I'm not sure, but it's amazing how all of a sudden that whole region is this identified with the Asiatics that came over. But if you go back far enough, they were actually, that region was all black. But that's a story for another day. And then Israel says, Shadow Zulu, peace to you, my brother. Okay, yeah, you just shouting each other out. But let's get a little bit more. Now look how easy that was. I know this is a commercial, but she just grabbed her some Afro Sheen, put that on, and then styled it up. You showed her picking her hair out, and then she's spraying it. Now she's ready to go. That took all of about 10 seconds. But now all of a sudden, these women screaming and crying how they got to spend hundreds of dollars and enrich other communities to the tune of billions of dollars just so they can do their own hair that grows out of their own freaking head. It's amazing. Let's go. Yeah, so that's just a little walk down memory lane for people who seem to have forgotten how easy it used to be for women, black women in particular, to do their hair. So I guess that's one of those lost arts, you know, like those movies where they have the past, there was some special magic or special art form that people used to be able to do, but then over time they forgot. So for black women, the special art that should have been handed down that they lost was the ability to do their own freaking hair. So now they have to outsource it to all these various communities while simultaneously making them billionaires. So it's amazing. But anyway, let's proceed. Speaking of Haiti, I got this thing right here that I felt that was pretty interesting that Cat Williams said. Let's go.
Funny how just a few questions can completely change your perception of someone. Have a look at this.
Person you trade places with for a day?
No one.
Weirdest job you ever had?
Doing missionary work in Haiti. I was able to...
You see how we connect dots over here? So we were talking about Haiti, but you know, I got a clip. I had this clip already preloaded, and I wanted you guys to hear what Cat Williams said about some of his work that he did over in Haiti. Let's go.
Go to villages and teach mothers that if they would put salt in their water, their children wouldn't die from diarrhea. And so I spent a year and a half in Haiti saving babies' lives.
Biggest risk you...
I thought that was interesting. I think a lot of people don't know that about Cat Williams because I didn't know it. And I thought that was very profound that he did that kind of work as a comedian. To turn out like that, that would be a profession that you wouldn't necessarily expect. So, and he goes on to say some pretty good stuff.
Adopting children.
How many have you adopted?
6.
Who would you like to be stranded on a desert island with?
An excellent swimmer.
Guilty.
Yeah, so he goes on, but yeah, that part about Haiti was pretty interesting. And then Shadow Zulu says, same here. Both of my parents are of Haitian. I guess you meant of Haitian descent. It said both through DNA tests, paternal Zulu and maternal Khoisan. Great. Yeah, you know what, Shadow? I'm going to have either I'm going to drop a video or I'm going to maybe touch on that on one of these broadcasts where I'm going to get into some of the misconception that people have about the Khoisan and the Kosa and all that, because I've been hearing a lot of BS going on out there. And I know you don't necessarily jump on panels, but I definitely want you to be active in the chat because when I talk about that, because I'm gonna have to dispel some things, and I got some very powerful information that I want to share. So I hope you're in the house when I do that. So it's gonna be one of these broadcasts. I have to figure out which one. I don't know if I'm gonna dedicate a whole show to it, but I definitely want to bring out some things about the Kosa and the or should I say, you know, with the click Kosa and then the Khoisan. So, but anyway, yeah, that's another thing. But let's get some more of these clips. Oh yeah, have you guys seen this right here? I thought this was a pretty interesting AI effect. So check this out for you Kobe fans in the house. Let me know if you guys have seen this. I thought this was pretty fly. How they did this. I'll let it load up here. He said, yeah, Shadow said, yeah, the clicking language. Shadow, can you do any of that? Can you do any of those? Do you know any of those clicks and what they mean? If you do, you know, share it with the squad, man. You know, let us know what some of those clicks mean. Because to me, it's a unique language, you know.
Oh, I cannot explain. Every time it's the same. Oh, I feel that it's real. Take my heart. I've been lonely too long. Oh, I can't be so strong. Take the chance for a man. Take my heart. I need you so. There's no time I'll ever go.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. It just kind of showed him from a baby until his last days. And Israel says, man, AI is just crazier and crazier. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing a lot of the stuff they could do. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that. I'm not sure if you've seen that already. But when it came across my desk, I was like, oh, yeah, I want to share this with the squad because I think you guys will like that. I got another one, too. I think I got one on Tupac. Let me show you guys that one. Yeah, I think I got that one. Hold on. See if I got it. Hold on.
Staring at the world through my rear view. Just looking back at the world from another level, you know what I mean? Staring.
Multiple gunshots, clear the block, the fun stops. Niggas was calling cops, people shot, nobody stopped. I wonder when the world stopped. Cameron last night, 2 kids shot, while the whole block staring. I will never understand this society. If they try to murder me, then they lie to me. Product of a John Breed, all my homies try weed. Now the little baby's crazy, raised on fantasy. Tell me when my enemies flee when they see me. Believe me, even thugs gotta learn to take it easy. Listen, through the intermission, search your heart for a plan. We turning bad boys to grown men. It's on again. Give a holler to my niggas in the darkest corners. Roll a perfect blunt and let me spark it for you. One love from a thug nigga, rolling with a posse full of paranoid drug dealers. To the end, my friend, I'm seeing nothing but my dreams coming true. While I'm staring at the world through my rear view. See, I'm seeing nothing but my dreams coming true. While I'm staring at the world through my rear view. They got me staring at the.
Yeah, so again, I think that those are, fire concepts how they'll just show them from the cradle to the grave, essentially. So yeah, just want to share that, like I said, with the squad. We got some more interesting clips before we get into this work. Oh yeah, this is interesting. I know you guys are familiar with the drummer and singer Sheila E., right? This was an interesting little story about her. I like some of her music from back in the day, but I never knew this about her. So check this out. It's a little short clip, which I think she's on J Hud's show, Jennifer Hudson, and she said something that I thought was interesting.
Record song. A lot of people don't know that the song Michael Jackson "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." I played on that song on that record.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys know that song. That's a classic from, I think that's the Off the Wall album. But let's go.
He called me and then Quincy called me and said, Michael's singing some kind of beats or whatever, with his mouth, making sounds, and he said, I don't know what instrument it is. Bring everything. So I brought like 7 gigantic anvil cases full of percussion instruments. And I listened to it. I was in the studio. I listened to Michael, and I was like, I don't know that I have anything like that. Let me think. So I'm known for just making stuff up. If I see something, I'll just make music with it. You know? Oh, absolutely. So I got 2 bottles for that song, and I put water in it. And I tuned it actually to the song. So I put water,
You say you tuned?
Yeah.
To the song?
To the song. So I put water in here so that you can tune it to the song. And then I use these for playing triangle, So I took the steel and, don't stop till you get enough.
Wow.
I mean, and that's the beginning of the song when you hear it, and then the guitar player started playing the same thing, so when you go home, you can listen to it and go, that's her.
Oh, we're definitely going home to listen to this.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting factoid, so again, if you guys are familiar with that song, as I am, I haven't gotten around to doing it yet, but I think I'm going to go and listen to that song just to hear that part that she said. So, again, I thought that was interesting. Speaking of Mike, here's a clip with him and Cher dancing. It's pretty interesting. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Come on, Mike. Yeah. Ha. Yo. Ha. Yo. Ha. Ha. Yeah. Yeah. Ha. Yo. Ha. Yeah. Ha. Holy shit.
Yeah. Ha. Yeah, they were back there snapping doing the I think that dance was called the robot. But anyway, let's see what else we got before we get into some of this work. Oh yeah, this right here, I felt was pretty interesting because Kanye's been in the news for talking crazy with the Black Klan uniform on and all that. But I saw this clip where this guy pretty much gave him one of those pull somebody by the collar moments, and I think we've all had those moments where either somebody has had to do that to us or we've had to do it to someone else. I've told the story about when I was a kid and I was cutting up, and I had a substitute teacher of all people to pull me to the side. He wasn't even our regular teacher, but he pulled me to the side because he realized that I was a lot more gifted than what I was letting on, because I just wanted to goof off and not do my work. And after I did a test, the test score was so high that he realized that I was just goofing off and that I could actually do the work. And he pulled me to the side and he pretty much told me that I need to get my butt in gear and all that stuff, because I think I was in eighth grade or something at the time. And, was getting ready to go into high school, and at the rate I was going, I wasn't going to pass or something. So he really put the fire under me. So I appreciate him. I actually went back to that school and thanked him. And I believe I have that video I put up on Patreon too. But anyway, that's just an aside. But I like the way this guy is really going in on Kanye about some of his antics. I'm not sure exactly when he told him this, but you can tell Kanye, for the first time I saw him actually shutting up, and it looks like he was actually listening to the guy check him a little bit. So I'm going to play this clip. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but let's go. And Kanye's my fellow Southsider. My fellow Southsider, but he be moving kind of funny, so I don't know if I can always claim Kanye, to be honest, but he's definitely a fellow Southsider like me. But let's go ahead and get this clip.
Anything. Kanye, you're entitled.
What did Shadow said? He said, Kanye. Kanye West. You know what? I think the chat was stuck. I didn't see you guys. What you laughing at, Israel? He said, hell no, I cannot do those clicks. Oh, okay. He was talking about, well, that's Shadow Zulu. Yeah, because I think my chat had got stuck, so I didn't see what you guys were responding to. But anyway, we're going to get into Kanye, or as Shadow so eloquently put it, Kanye. So let's go. But check out how dude's going to kind of break things down to him. And you could tell that it's going to be resonating with Kanye. He's on, at least he's still crazy, right? But you could tell it's penetrating that madness just a little bit. So let's go.
I don't think you're thinking anything. Kanye, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe whatever you want. But there is fact and real world, real life consequence behind everything that you just said. And while you live in the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice, while you choose to say things that, to be honest with you, dog, are nonsensical. I'll combat your free thought with my free thought, because mine is grounded in a reality that I have been given, and a reality that I'm going to change, but I'm not going to do it by pretending that the enemies are on the same team as me. And brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real.
Yeah, so if you notice, Kanye was not giving no pushback. He was listening. So shout out to that brother for pulling Kanye by the side, from the side. And if I ever came across his path, that's kind of what I would check him on as well. I'd tell him about himself as well. And yeah, he would definitely have to sit there and listen. But once again, shout out to that brother, because I think he told him some straight facts right there. But let me see. I got oh yeah, check this out. Just we're on the topic of Chicago, and we got this guy right here. I think did some pretty interesting art with some Jordans. So I'm going to play a little bit of this real quick. Let's get it. Yeah, and Shadow says bars. Yeah, he let him know what was up. Let's go.
All right, the last layer, the black, really makes this thing pop right off the wall. We're going to add some extra graffiti flair with this cool nozzle and tag it with the word sneaks. Okay, you're done. I'm gonna show you how cool this looks. This is my new display for my sneakers, and it says sneaks because of the movie that's coming out right now. A whole sneaker movie with hip hop culture as the DJ Mustard is doing the soundtrack, which is amazing. This is next to Jordan, the real Jordan. Another piece of art right there, but this one right
now, you notice the one he did about Jordan on the wall. It looks like Jordan was coming right off the wall. Look at that. That's crazy. Like some 3D art right there. I guess that ball is art. It looks like they just put a ball on the wall, but that may be art as well. But check out what he did with the shoes. Let's go.
But this one right here is for you. Go see the sneaker movie. The movie is awesome. All about sneakers.
Let's go.
Boom.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting how you made that, and it just kind of came out to be an actual, looked like a Jordan like that. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, let's what I got? I think I got about one or two more. Oh yeah, I thought this clip was funny. Look at this right here. Look at that little. It's funny. I didn't know that. What's that? A bighorn sheep, a ram, or whatever it is, that they will hang their horns on a tree like that. And it looks like he did a little two-step or whatever. It's funny. I'm gonna play it again. Man, animals funny as hell. Speaking of which, I thought I had another clip with some damn cats, because those cats are always funny as hell. It was one I wanted you to see, but I'm not sure if I put it in here. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I just had a few things to that I want you guys to see. But oh, you know what we gotta do? Because I haven't touched on this in a while, but I'm getting some word that this particular individual. Oh yeah, what did Shadow Zulu say? He said Baphomet. My man Commando Spawn is in the house. He says, "Long time, my friend." Yeah, Commando, it's good to see you. I think you sent me a message that you wanted to ask me about thumbnails or something like that. But yeah, and after that, I didn't hear. I think I responded to you. I think you were supposed to email me, but yeah, I don't know if you got around to it. I hadn't checked my email in a while, but yeah, salute to you, bro. Good to see you, fam. Glad you're in the house. You came for a good one tonight, because like I said, you're kind of right on time, because we're just still getting warmed up here. But I got a couple of things to just touch on briefly before we get into this topic. And we haven't talked about the Joker in a while. And for those of you who don't know, the Joker is I know Commando Spawn knows the Joker, because last time he sicked us on the Joker, because he was, that's when we talked about the whole Ethiopian topic. That was at the behest of Commando Spawn, because he was over there listening to the Joker, aka Exoticals United. And like I said, I haven't been needing to talk about her, because we still have her in the intellectual Arkham Asylum, because she has yet to be able to debunk any of the things that I brought out about her ridiculous talking points. So I just kind of, been focusing on other stuff, but I'm getting reports that this Joker has some type of obsession with the Squadcast, and she's really trying to morph herself into some of these points that I make over here, because she's enamored with the style, and she's always kind of over here trying to ear hustle and get information and try to regurgitate some of our points. And I know in her little deluded mind, she's thinking she's doing this, what they call it, the dark femininity. I've mentioned this before to you guys, but I'm not going to go into depth about it in a public forum. That's something I might do behind the scenes. But where she's trying to kind of absorb some of my energy and trying to, take it for herself. And she's trying to come over and take some of the talking points that I have. So I'm getting reports that she's starting to say that she's over here dissecting things. And everybody knows that came from over here with me. This is the home of the dissections, and the monumental dissection that I did of her. She has yet to be able to debunk anything that I said. But what she's doing at this point is trying to, as I said, cosplay as some of my points, and that's kind of her thing. That's the reason why she's bleaching herself. And for those of you who don't know who I'm referring to, I know Commando Spawn does, but we're gonna get her here on the screen, just so you guys, give you a little healthy reminder of who we're talking about. Because like I said, we've been talking about other more pressing things, so we haven't been touching on her or the Exoticals in a while. But yeah, we are definitely. I just want to point this out because it is kind of par for the course, where a lot of people, they can't debunk or respond to the dissections that we give them. So what they like to do is kind of just start trying to adopt some of our talking points as if they came up with it. But it's kind of funny. But yeah, that's her in her original form right there. And then Commando Spawn said she's hypocrisy. He said, Israel said, "Oh, not that chicken head." And then Israel said, "Yes, I did remember you saying she would copy and paste typical YouTubers." Yeah, but she does it in a particularly interesting way, because what she's doing is she's taking some of the points. Like right now, she's even taking, because she tried to claim that the modern Ethiopians that's over there now are, because somebody wrote her and they said that they were trying to claim that they had the Eve gene, but they actually have a background that's kind of mixed with all these different other groups. So they're not the original Kushites. And I broke that down in such a way that she couldn't refute it. And she was going around trying to claim that these Exoticals were the blueprint until I debunked her. So now she's trying to flip it and trying to call unambiguous people. She's trying to say, oh, they're blueprints. Now she's trying to flip it like, those of us who are actual blueprints, now it's like a pejorative. It's just like when those people, those white supremacists, want to say kangs, because they can't debunk the fact that we're descended from kings. So they'll just try to make fun of it as if being descended from a king is a bad thing. They'll call us kangs and all that kind of goofy shit. So that's kind of what she's doing. So that's the reason why I'm even pointing this out, because it's really funny. Commando Spawn says that critter. So yeah, that's her right there. That's in her original form, but she's metamorphosized, and I'm sure she's gonna see this part, and she's gonna get so her panties are gonna get wet again because I'm talking about her again. But I'm only doing it because I'm getting reports that she's over there talking about she's a dissector. She went from being a divester to a dissector. Now she's copying off of me talking about she's dissecting something, and as I said, a lot of other things that I've said. I'm probably going to do a nice little compilation and put it in a nice little video because it's hilarious. But this is her various metamorphoses. But shout out to the Joker. She's the Joker. And, just like the story goes, the Joker had some type of weird obsession with the Dark Knight. And true to her persona, she has a weird obsession over here with the Squadcast. So shout out to her. I'm sure she's going to watch this. And yeah, you got your other little acknowledgement, Joker. So enjoy it. And yeah, we'll maybe touch on her again in the future if depending on how it goes, because right now she has yet to be able to, as I said, refute anything I said. So we're gonna let the Joker sit in the Arkham Asylum a little bit longer, but she is trying to escape. But we have her locked down, so she's not gonna be able to escape. I mean, this picture right here just tickles me for some reason. I don't know, but anyway, let me. I don't want to scare you guys off, but anyway, yeah. So I just want to touch on that and briefly here. Speaking of someone else who's rather delusional, but we're trying to give this guy an opportunity here. I think you guys remember when I spoke on this guy by the name of Light Skin Historian. And we tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I have not extended an official invitation to him yet. I did tag him on a video, but I'm not sure if you guys want me to invite him over and see if he'll be willing to come over to have a discussion about his views. But he likes to say some things that I feel are very much historically inaccurate. As I showed you before, I debunked some of the things that he was saying. And he's been saying little goofy stuff here and there about how dark-skinned dudes are the one that's colorist and all this type of stuff. I think he made a recent video about that. I'm just going to play a little of this, and I'm going to address a couple of things, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. But as I said, I'm going to let you guys tell me if you want to see me chop it up with this guy, and we'll give him an official invitation. I don't know if he'll show up. And then Commando Spawn says he's a cornball. Don't give him no clout. I thought about that too. I said, well, I don't know if I want to give him more exposure, but at the same time, I don't mind chopping it up with somebody. Because even the Joker, the Joker, if she had enough courage, she can come over here and get this work too. But I try to give guys a little bit more leeway because, we are an anti-black man propaganda channel, and we want to give people an opportunity to express themselves in a logical way. We have fun, and we kind of, poke. Like I said, we have fun. We poke holes at people's arguments and things like that. But at the end of the day, I am willing to sit down and have a rational discussion. But again, I'll leave it up to you guys. I don't want to, if you wouldn't be interested in seeing me chop it up with him, then we won't give him the opportunity. But if he reaches out, then who knows? But I don't know if he's willing to do it because I think he may be somewhat afraid of some of the points that we've been bringing out against him. So, because he can't really refute them. And then Israel said, no, I think that was Commando Smile. He said that critter. He said she's just like an Indian. You sure she's black? She's I think she claims that her mom is like part Mexican, but her father is black. So yeah, I believe she is, but she's clearly she wasn't as mixed as she wanted to be. So now she's fully bleached herself, as I showed you in that picture, and she's wearing one of those 3C wigs or whatever. So she's really a hot mess. But it's funny because she's the perfect villain to some of the things that we say. Because like I said, I'm over here on the Dark Knight, and she's the Joker or the Jokeress. So that's the reason why I like to bring her up every once in a while, especially the fact that she's so obsessed with our broadcast. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's somewhere lurking in the background, or she's certainly going to watch the playback. So, but anyway, he said she's like them dark Indians on TikTok that do a before and after of when they bleach their skin. Yeah. She probably has the mentality of one of those because, again, a lot of that comes from trauma. And we even got a video of her talking about how she was, where she was growing up because she was in, I think, all white areas, and they were making fun of her because she called herself black. So I think she does consider herself to be black. But I think it created a whole lot of self hate or a lot of insecurity about herself. So that's the reason why she started bleaching and all that. So it's pretty interesting. And then he said his name screams that he's a gynocracy baby. So he's talking about the light-skinned historian. Yeah, he says some stuff that's so ridiculous, man. It's funny at the same time, but it's kind of sad. And if you listen to him, it's like he's always whining about these type of topics. So I'm going to play a little bit of it just so you guys can hear him. But we played him before, but I just want to touch on some of the things he's saying in this video. And then Commando Spawn says, what DSBM or dark-skinned black men or light-skinned black men need to understand is black men are only just as colorist as our black women mothers raised us to be. Exactly. That's a very good point, Commando. And that's kind of one of the points I like to make is because they always overlook that. And I always bring up real-world examples such as Matthew Knowles, who is on record saying that the reason why he was colorist was because his dark-skinned mother was the one that told him never to bring a dark-skinned nappy-headed woman home, and that's the reason why he got with Tina Knowles, because he actually thought Tina Knowles was a white woman. And so that came directly from his mother. And those of us who were raised right to love our own melanated skin, we are like the opposite. Now, again, I'm not one of these guys that say that, lighter skinned women or exotic women are not attractive. I definitely, I'm one of these guys, how we do over here. We like beautiful women, right? We may have preferences. Like some of you guys may like, the more exotic look. That's cool. Some of you, like me, I like the beautiful, heavily melanated women, but I do find exotic women attractive as well. And I think Shadow and Zulu and I both agree that we don't necessarily like pale skin, but I've seen some attractive white women as well. So it's not, we have preferences, but we're men, so we like attractive women. But when it comes to guys who are exclusively won't date black women and I ain't talking about just the B-dub, because we already know what's up with the B-dub. I'm holding them from a different standard. I'm talking about internationally, because we know that the B-dub is kind of cooked out here in these streets for the most part, even though there's some good ones still. But, why you got to sort through a bunch of rattlesnakes just to get to one that won't bite you, right? So you know how that go. But at the end of the day, like Commando Spawn said, it really comes from their mothers, right? But anyway, we're going to get a little bit of what this dude got to say. I think after this, we're going to get into the main topic. So check this out.
What's up? I'm back with a quick video. We kind of already went through this already, but I'm going to make another video to this, pretty much giving you the proof. But you guys already know this, that colorism is nothing but dark skin supremacy.
Okay, so what is this dude talking about? He's saying colorism. Now, to be sure, we understand that historically what colorism was. Colorism is an offshoot of racism, which is white supremacy, which is putting down, black people because of their race and so forth, through oppression, through systemic, oppressions and all that. And then you had various stages of black people going through where you had mixed groups like the Blue Vein Society, you had a lot of the Creoles and stuff like that who were part white or these other groups, and they would discriminate against darker skinned people to approximate themselves to whiteness, and that's the history of colorism. Somehow this goofy is trying to twist it like dark skinned people, colorism is dark skin supremacy. I don't even understand the type of logic he's using, but that's the reason why I said that we need to invite him over so we can dissect this stuff in real time. But I think it would be a quality broadcast. But again, I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to see that. I think Commando Spawn said he called him a cornball. He said he ain't necessarily feeling them like that. But again, I think it would still be an interesting conversation. But let's get a little bit more.
That's all it is.
And Israel said, what the hell is they talking about? Look, bro, I'm telling you, man, these guys be out here saying some wild stuff. But what I like to do is give people an opportunity to say their piece, because, again, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially the guys, right? Because we've been for so long not having platforms and opportunity to speak our truths, right? So I think in this guy's world, this stuff is true, right? So he believes, because of his own experiences, he might be a light-skinned or biracial guy who's had some bad experiences with dark-skinned people. I don't know. And he just come on the internet to vent. And again, me as a darker-skinned man, I think I could give him a different perspective that he may not be aware of. He might think that we're all out to get him. And little does he know that, a lot of us dark-skinned dudes, we got friends that are light-skinned. We don't have a problem. A couple of my friends from way back in the day were light-skinned. In fact, one of my best friends of all time is a light-skinned dude. So we don't get into all that. I just point out certain things when it comes to all these different racial classifications on how we need to abandon the one drop rule and all that. That don't mean I have a problem with people who are mixed or biracial or anything. I just think there needs to be a distinction because there's been so much confusion, such as this dude and others who don't even understand the dynamics. So that's the reason why. But again, as a darker skinned guy, I'm not colorist against light skinned people. That's ridiculous. I got people in my family that are lighter skinned. That's not the point. All I'm saying is that we need to have a better understanding of history and genetics and all this stuff, and stop with all this foolery and abandon goofy ass slave plantation BS like the one drop rule, because it's done nothing but damage to the psyche and the progress of black people. But anyway, let's get a little bit more. Oh, and what you guys over there, when you're here going in, he said, Israel says, check out Le Code Noir in Haiti, it was white French slave owners. Let me see the chat move. Let me go back up. He said, like white French slave owners discriminating against the black Haitians. Yeah, exactly. That's what all comes from. That's why there's a difference between, and there's such a distinction going on between Haiti and the Dominican Republic, because the Dominican Republic was an outpost for mulattoes, and Haiti was basically what they would call the unambiguous part of the island. It's all the island of Hispaniola. I mean, it's the same island that they're sharing, and it's basically divided between the Haitians who have been kind of artificially depressed. And a lot of you guys who are part Haitian, you understand this history, I'm sure, very well, and you know how that all went down. But then the Dominican Republic side of it was kind of used as a buffer to help in that, to keep the Haitian part down. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so it's a very interesting dynamic how that all works. And then Commando Response say Israel Lion, he's simping for light-skinned cooch. No, but you know what? That's one of his complaints, because he's always whining and complaining about the fact that in his mind, lighter-skinned girls are always going with the dark-skinned guys, and that they're dissing light-skinned dudes. And he'll show balloon shows where a lot of the women are, they're saying that they don't want the light-skinned guys and all that. And I think it's kind of capped to some extent, because I think, a lot of these women just be talking, and they'll still get smashed by a light-skinned dude. In fact, I think I got a clip like that I'm going to play real quick where this dude is saying that. And then Commando says, light-skinned historians say simp. But again, man, I'm not trying to call them names. That's you guys in the chat. So if this gets back to him, I'm not the one calling them names. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. So I don't want to start going too hard on him yet until if I give him an opportunity to chop it up, we'll see what happens. And then Israel says, a written law for discrimination against darker skinned individuals tells this sucker to take his mama's tits out of his mouth and stop whining. Yeah, I mean, you said it best. But again, Israel, just for the sake of conversation, I don't mind giving people an opportunity to speak their piece. That's the reason why I'm even platforming some of his talking points now, because, he has a smaller platform than over here. But I don't mind giving him a little bit more shine. Just to kind of, be able to expose some of the things he's saying to, dissect it as per usual, right? And then Commando Spawn says, nobody's genetically a white crayon or a black crayon color. Yeah. And we've had that discussion, because what I like to talk about, Commando, because I agree with you, it's not about color, because we just use those terms because of, what's his name, Blumenblatt, the guy who came up with this whole color thing. We know it's garbage on a genetic level, but what I'd like to do is talk more about familial ties or genetic what in genetics they call it genetic distancing. It says that some of your certain haplogroups are more closely related than others. So even if you don't like the whole race thing or the whole color thing, then let's just talk about it in terms of genetic distancing, or how close you are. Just like if you have a nuclear family that's close genetically, as opposed to a distant cousin or people who you're not related to, right? So when we talk about genetics, we're talking about certain connections in a scientific level. So when people try to make it seem as though like there's no distinctions, then that's ridiculous. Just like if you have somebody who's a brother and sister, they are more genetically similar than somebody who's of a different race, right? So let's be clear about that. So that's a whole nother discussion that we can have. But the reason why I push back at some of the people like him, light-skinned historian, these other people, because what they're doing is trying to rewrite history, and they're trying to change things that we know to be true, that historically black people without admixture did. And like we did before, we debunked even some of the biblical stuff that he was trying to say, because he even has a video where he's trying to make it seem like black men and white men are ganging up together against light-skinned dudes. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? White men and black men have been at odds for centuries, and you're trying to say that somehow there's some teamwork between black men and white men. it's ridiculous, especially when he's claiming that they're working together against light-skinned people when there wouldn't even be biracial or light-skinned people without the interactions between, well, in many cases against the will of, especially if we're talking about during slavery, how that all went down. And he's just trying to make it seem like there's some conspiracy that black men and white men are doing against light-skinned men because light-skinned men are the, I guess, like in his mind, the Christ is light skin and the chosen people are light skin. I don't know what he's talking about, but I just find it fascinating because I never heard stuff like this, and I just want to kind of give people the benefit of the doubt, like I said, but it's weird. And then Israel says, let me get back to what Commando says. Commando Spawn says, since we talking genetic phenotypes and genotype are two, he said, two completely different things. Yeah, I agree. And like I said, we can go deeper because I know that's not the discussion, but yeah, I agree that there could be, we're definitely, it's definitely a difference between phenotype and genotype. That's correct. He says there's some light-skinned black people who's blacker than some dark-skinned black people, and there's some genotypes and there's phenotypes. Yeah, exactly. So there are situations, Commando, where you'll have somebody who's of a darker hue, who has more of an admixture than someone who's of a lighter hue, because that's only one metric when you start dealing with genetics. So I agree with that. That's why over here we have what's called the 80% rule. And I'd consider somebody who's 80% or more to be of any race, black or whatever. There's this video out of this white supremacist, I think you may have seen it, where he came back like 80-something% white, and then he had like 14% black, right? But you look at him, he just looked like a straight up white man, and he's racist to boot. So my question is, who wants to extend the hand of brotherhood to this guy, right? So 80% is sufficient for him to still be considered a white man. But I just find it interesting that you have a one dropper who would still, I guess, according to their metric, this white supremacist who looks like a straight up white man who has 14% black ancestry, I guess they're going to call him a brother then, right? Because that's what the goofy warm drop rule does. But anyway, I don't want to get off into that. That's a subject for another video. And then Israel said, dude got his head up his own. Man, y'all going in on dude, man. But anyway, I don't know if I should bring him over because you guys are going to tear him apart in the chat. But let me get a little bit more what he got to say, though. And then we're going to get to the main topic. Let's go.
That's all it's about. It's about dark-skinned people reigning supreme over light-skinned people. All right, and you heard me say this before. You heard other brothers in the comments say this before.
And then Shao Zulu said, I met one ninja in Boston at a train station that was actually the color of a black crayon, darkest I've seen. Yeah, he might have been part of the Nilotic peoples, right? And those Nilotics, they're like the original Kushites or the Nubians. Yeah, so those are like the darkest people on earth, I believe. And then Israel said he's talking about this guy, light-skinned historian. He says he must think he's part of a chosen race. Yeah, I think according to him, the light-skinned people are the chosen race, which is funny because you only get them from the interactions between the black people and white people. I don't know if this guy's biracial or what, but it's just funny. And the way that he's framing this stuff is if somehow, like Israel said, he's like thinks there's like some. I don't know if he was part of that quote golden spear that they had out, and we had Golden Goddess on this platform before, and she was talking about the gold. There used to be like this golden sphere. So I guess there were people who had this idea that if they were of a certain hue, then that means they were part of this golden club or something. I'm not exactly sure exactly how that all used to work because I think now they kind of disbanded, which is kind of weird because I would imagine why can't these people of a common belief system called the golden sphere, why did it fail? Kind of funny. And then let's get a little bit more of this guy and then we're gonna move on. Let's go.
Type this. That it's all about dominating light-skinned people, and when they can't
so it's all about dominating light-skinned people, right?
Dominate light-skinned people, they cry about colorism.
Okay, so he's saying us dark-skinned people, when we can't dominate light-skinned people, then we start crying about colorism. I mean, you guys can try to figure that out. I got other things to focus on. I'm gonna throw that to the crowd. and that you guys figure out how is it that darker skinned people who have historically been the ones who have been discriminated against because of their dark skin, somehow if they are not able to oppress the people who've been oppressing them, then somehow then they start crying colorism. I don't know. I'm gonna let you guys figure that one out. But let's get a little bit more. Oh, and by the way, Commando Spawn says, I'm gonna scratch some feathers. A lot of these ninjas talking this dark skin versus light skin BS is Caribbean and African and foreign flags. Yeah, you know,
all this whole colorism stuff is about.
You know what? I think a lot of them, they're just kind of pushing back against the whole FBA thing, possibly. But yeah, there are people that are from the Caribbean in the house, Commando Spawn. I don't know if you know. I think Shadow and Israel are part Caribbean. I'm what would be considered foundational, I guess. You know, because I'm on both sides of my family from the States. So my point in talking about this is to push back at some of these false narratives. Because like I said, I think the one drop rule needs to be abolished. And I started bringing out that whole dynamic between these, quote, unambiguous black women and these exoticals to show you guys about the tension that was going on. Because that, to me, went beyond the whole colorism thing. Because that's talking about, like, subgroups where a lot of these, quote, exoticals, they're starting now to, because the darker skinned women started to push them out from, being associated. So they started forming up their own groups. And that's where that all came from. So that's the reason why I was even, delving into that topic. But my man Ray Hamna, the Hamna Force, is in the house. Salute, bro. Good to see you. So yeah, and then Israel says that goofy ass diaspora wars. yeah, that's they still got that going. But anyway, I'm gonna get a little bit more about this guy right here, then we're gonna get to the main topic.
About elevating their status above light-skinned people and getting preferential treatment and being able to abuse light-skinned people physically and spiritually and mentally without any repercussions. That's all it's about.
So do you guys agree with that?
All right. And how you know this is look at the dynamics. You can walk around and punch my light-skinned son in the head, like Kwame Brown said, crack jokes on them, make fun of them. You can take my daughter and sexually assault her. Your dark-skinned daughter can cut her hair. Even I've seen people, especially in New York, cut light-skinned women's faces open. But I can't do nothing. If I do something back, you're going to shame me by being a colorist. But you can get away with it because allegedly you are oppressed and you don't have any power.
I don't think anybody condones the stuff that he just mentioned. Talking about you can't just run around and attack people and get away with. Now maybe in the sub B-dub community they give a pass to other dark-skinned women that attack light-skinned women. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with their little subculture because there's a whole lot of foolery and fuckery that's going on with there, so that don't speak for us. But when you keep it over here with us men, we don't have a culture where it's okay to attack a guy just because he's light-skinned. Now we might crack jokes and stuff like that. But hell, I mean, people crack jokes about dark-skinned people too. So again, it just seemed like some overly sensitive, bitchified moaning and complaining to me. But anyway, again, I'm still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he might have some points here and there. But at the end of the day, he's just really going off with some of these talking points. So I'm just going to stop it right there because I just wanted to touch on that briefly because, again, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on if he comes over here trying to, get in with us. We're going to have to give him that heavy work, to be honest. But now what you guys saying? He says, Commando Spawn said, just like when Exoticals United made that Ethiopian video, brothers ain't checking for no Ethiopian. Yeah. And again, it's like the point I made, because again, Commando, when I rebutted what she said, I made the point that the guys who wanted to go over to mess with the Ethiopian chicks, them are the very guys that they need to be celebrating because those are the guys who are more marriage minded. Those are the guys who, they're not just going over there for the phenotype. They may like, the exotic look or whatever, but a lot of those guys, they can go to DR, they can go to Brazil, they can go to any number of countries, Colombia, if they just want that. But the reason why a lot of those guys that were, even going over there, and it wasn't even a lot because I even gave you guys the top 5 destinations that the quote passport bros go, and Ethiopia isn't one of them. But see, what they want to do is try to demonize a guy because he might have a preference, but at the same time, these are the guys who just want to have a more traditional wife, right? They have more of a marriage-minded guy, but they're so game goofy that they're gonna once again disparage the good guys and try to demonize them just because they might have a more traditional value. So it's really ridiculous. And then Shadow Zulu said that dude's just making shit up. Yeah, I get that impression too. I think he's just talking out of emotion. He's not really basing a lot of what he's saying on real fact. But anyway, I just feel like it's just something that we need to be aware of and push back whenever necessary, because because you never know, that type of foolery can start metastasizing and growing, because again, we're an anti-black man propaganda channel. So wherever a little propaganda's popping up and it's on our radar, we like to at least expose it. And then Shadow Zulu says, I'm a little light skinned. What if I punch him on the face? What would his excuse be? Yeah, see, he never talks about light skin violence. According to him, all of the negativity that's coming towards light-skinned people, except for the women. See, he blames the light-skinned women for being traitors, because a lot of times you'll get lighter-skinned women who will start, identifying with black more, and he feel like they be dissing light-skinned dudes, but he don't ever talk about other light-skinned dudes who go in on each other. Just like when I did that video about all those light-skinned dudes who were going in on Drake, right? So he was trying to make it seem like it was only the dark-skinned dudes going in on Drake. I was like, hell no, them light-skinned dudes were the one giving him that business, because the real ones, the light-skinned dudes who ain't no little whiny bitches, they didn't like the fact that Drake was out there making them look bad. So them was the ones giving Drake that work. So it's kind of funny, there's people like Shadow Zulu who got a little light skin, but they some real ones out here. So they the ones that, just like Shadow said, he probably would punch the dude in the face, and then he gonna ask them, what you gonna do then, right? That's light skin on light skin violence, right? That's crazy. And then Commando says, Israel, young lion, foreign black women too xenophobic for me. Oh, okay. It depends on the culture. Commando, I don't know which country you're talking about. Are you talking about one of the African countries? Or are you talking about Afro-Latina? Could you be a little bit more specific? And then Israel says, Ethiopia ain't the place to get a wife anyways. I have a local friend out there that keeps me posted. He said tourism is doing very bad recently. Okay. Yeah, because there's a lot of BS going on over there. And a lot of those Ethiopians, what they're doing, they're moving to places like Uganda and Kenya and all these other East African countries to get the hell out of there. So it's really funny how they're trying to claim like you guys are running over there so much, and they themselves are getting the hell out of Ethiopia because of all these ethnic differences that are going on, and they're moving into other unambiguous type countries like, as I mentioned, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. So it's kind of weird how all that's going down. But anyway, guys, let's get into this main topic. But yeah, that's a fire discussion you guys been having, so I really am feeling what you guys are saying. Oh, by the way, yeah, before I even move on, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you guys. To this one video kind of debunks what this dude is saying. So I'm gonna play this video. It's real short, but it's this light-skinned dude. He's gonna kind of expose the cap that's going on with this whole thing. So check this out. Because one of the things that light-skinned historian says is that these light-skinned women don't like light-skinned dudes, or that these women, they all hate light-skinned dudes and they all dissing them and all this type of stuff, right? So watch what this guy got to say about it. And then, like I said, after this, we're going to get into the main topic. Let's go.
Have you ever been discriminated against by a woman because you're light-skinned?
Yes, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be sturdy when I say this. Every female that ever said they don't talk to light-skinned niggas, I got in their ribs.
Okay.
Now you heard what he said, right? He said all the bros be, talking this BS about, they don't mess with light-skinned dudes, but he done busted them down, right? Yeah, they'll say that, but them the same broads who be fawning over all these mixed babies. Where the hell you think they getting these mixed babies from? So how the hell you love all these mixed babies, but then you talking about you don't rock with light-skinned dudes? Now, some of them, what they'll do, they'll get with these light-skinned dudes, and once they figure out that, because some of these lighter-skinned dudes, they may not be like chasing them the way they want them to, because a lot of these guys may be self-centered or whatever, I don't know, but then they get their heart broke or whatever, then they come out talking about they don't like light-skinned dudes. So again, that's part of this. And then they get out here on these YouTube streets and all this and TikTok and whatever, and on them balloon shows talking all that yin yang. But dude right here is pretty much calling cap on that whole thing. So I'm gonna play that back what he said. Let's go. And they do love them some Chris Brown too. So that's another example on how we can pull they whole card on this whole thing as well. But let's get it.
And I'm gonna be sturdy when I say this. Every female that ever said they don't talk to light-skinned niggas, I got in their ribs.
Okay.
And I mean that.
Okay.
You looking dead in the camera.
I want them to see this. I'm dead ass. Every female that's ever said to me, I don't deal with light skins, I don't do light skins.
That's my brother.
Shout out to who? I killed her.
Shout out to who?
Shout out to Sophie. Shout out to Brittany. Shout out to my baby moms. Shout out to the bitch I just left. We keep the list going, but
yeah, so there you have it. So a lot of these guys is getting out here whining. Maybe they just can't get women themselves or something, and he just trying to make it be like it's because he's light skinned. Like I pointed out when I did the Drake video, I was like, a lot of these guys who are complaining about Drake getting attacked because he's light skinned, I'm like, oh, y'all overlooking the fact that he's a freaking jackass, and there's a lot of people that he done did dirty. Like I pointed out, his own mentor, which was Lil Wayne, he slept with his woman while he was locked up, but you just going to scoot past that. You're going to overlook that, and you're going to say that people got issues with him just because he's light-skinned. This is ridiculous. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Israel's going in. he laughing. Yeah, but again, this is all BS. This is a bunch of whiny complaining. It's just like with the women who are dark-skinned crying about colorism when there are attractive dark-skinned women who don't have those kind of problems. And they're going to they overlooking the fact that they're 400 pounds, looking like Gabby Sidibe, and they got bad attitudes. And then the only thing that they can point out is the fact that they're dark skinned. That's the reason why guys don't want to get with them. It's all ridiculous. It's BS. And yeah, we need to call it out. But I'm not dismissing that colorism doesn't exist, but I think these women that freaking took that shit and ran into the ground, and these light-skinned dudes like light-skinned historian, not every light-skinned dude, of course, but people like light-skinned historian, he's doing the same thing that the same women that he's criticizing are doing. You know, so that's just my take on it. And then, yeah, so it's crazy. Israel says light-skinned incels. Yeah. Man, y'all going in. But anyway, yeah, let me get into this topic because, yeah, we can talk about that. We can make that the whole broadcast, but I don't want to get into that more. But we're going to get into these. Oh, I almost forgot. I got to touch on this, guys. I even put it in the title. But you guys, you know how we went in on the Cookie Monster, right? We went in on the Cookie Monster last week. I know some of you guys were not in the house, but we had to go in on them. And it looks like the Cookie Monster responded. Because, you know, I said before, I think he kind of watches us when we talk about him. He probably is a fan of the channel. You know, probably low-key watching us. You know, a lot of those bigger YouTubers, they like to come over and soak up game and all that. But anyway, I think the Cookie Monster may have responded to us. So I'm going to show you the video that I'm talking about. Because I'm the only one that I think made this point about the fact, based on what he said, mind you, regarding the fact that he has supervised visits. I said that last time we were here, and he's responding to that. Now, again, I believe that Umar did a pretty good job of explaining the situation more, but something he should have did at first, which was giving more context as to what happened. So overall, I think he did clean up some of the misconceptions because he went into some depth. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but it's on that King Kong Consciousness channel. I think that's his channel, low key. He tries to deny it. He claims he don't have a YouTube channel, but somehow, some way, this King Kong Consciousness, which he calls himself, by the way, King Kong, this person just seems to have all his videos, right? But he somehow he don't want people to know it's him. But anyway, if you go check it out, he broke down everything about what was going on with both of his baby mamas. So again, I give credit where it's due. he would have given that type of context in the beginning, then maybe some of my takes would have been different. But the fact still remains that the points that I disagree with, which is how he's being a turncoat when he was all out here talking this garbage about queens and all this stuff. Meanwhile, he was going through this drama and he was encouraging, and we played the video, encouraging men to get with single baby mamas. So, and the fact that I still stand by my point that he still had ample opportunity to get ahead of this thing between the ages of 18 to his daughter's turning 23, where he could have got ahead of this thing and stopped her from coming out making a slap fool of herself and making it seem like he was a deadbeat. Because I never even really referred to him as a deadbeat once I found out he was paying child support. But what I did think that was that he could have did more to be in the girl's life, especially once she became an adult. But he did push back at the notion that somehow he had supervised visits, because I said that based on the fact that he said that he was going over his mom's or his baby mama's mother's house, and he had to be on a couch. And I was like, okay, well, why is he over there and he can't take the baby out, or he can't see it without someone else being around? That sounds like unsupervised. He can't have unsupervised visits. That's what I said. So he's going to respond to this, and then I'm going to respond. But anyway, let me play this clip right here. Hold on. So I think Umar, the Cookie Monster, he checking in with the Squadcast, so he had to check us real quick, right? So I'm gonna give him, I'm gonna see, acknowledge what he said. So let's get it. And what Shadow say? He says, Cookie Monster is probably watching right now. I have no doubt. And then Israel says, somebody get Mama Smurf. Yeah, anyway, let's get a little bit of what he got to say. Because, again, I can acknowledge when somebody clarifies something because, again, the points in which I disagree with him were predicated on the information that was available, right? And then the points, irrespective of the stuff that he said, I still stand on what I said, about the things that how he's being a hypocrite because he was the main one out here telling dudes to get with baby mamas. And he's going through this BS. And now he's trying to flip it like, yeah, man, don't do like me and all this stuff. I'm like, yo, bro, you should have been talking like that. It took your ass to get exposed for this to happen. So I still stand on all that. But at this point, he clarified the fact that he never had supervised visits. But let's go. And a couple other things, and then we're going to get into the main thing. But let's go. Hold on, guys. You can still hear me, right? Let me make sure the audio is on. Oh, you know what? Damn. I think this one. Man, this clip don't have the audio. God damn. Yeah, I think when we downloaded it, it didn't have the audio on it. Okay, I got another clip with the audio, but that particular clip, he was basically saying that, yeah, he said, yo, some Negro was out there saying that I had unsupervised, that I could not get unsupervised visits. And he said there was never a court order. That wasn't the case. He said he was basically just doing that on his own because he wanted to still try to make it work, even though, according to him, his baby mamas basically lied to him. They said if he was just, being in, participating in certain things, that they would not take him to child support and all this type of stuff. So he kind of did clear that part up about the fact that he was never given a court order to have any type of unsupervised visits. And I can accept that. So I stand corrected because, again, I was just saying that based on the information that was available. So Cookie Monster, if you're listening now, or if you will get this playback, I do acknowledge the fact that you were not given that you were not under some court order saying that you did not have supervised visits. Okay, fine. And again, I only said that based on what you said, which was that you went over there and had to sit on, because you were saying, oh, no more Big Mama's couch and all this stuff. You want to take your baby to Africa and take her to all these different places. I'm like, okay. I said, well, what's the reason why you can't do that? Is there some type of thing where you can't have unsupervised visits. So that was all based on what he said. So if that is not the case, then I retract that. But at the same time, I still stand on business when it comes to the things that I said, because he has not debunked any of that. So in case in point, let me see if I got one of these other clips where he's talking. I don't think this is it. Yeah, I thought that because I think the program we used to download this one, the audio wasn't on. Yeah, so anyway, it just downloaded the video. There's one that I got where he's going in on let me see, where is it at? We use a different program to do this one, so I think we have the audio to that. Hold on. Because he said one thing about people making videos against him, and that how he never made videos against people and all this. And I call cap on that, Umar, because we have evidence of you making videos against people, because he was trying to make it seem like somehow he's just out here talking business, talking about growth, talking about production, talking about building institutions and all that. And everybody else is just, you know, talking about other people and all this type of stuff. I was like, oh, okay, Umar, since you such an erudite person and you're so above the fray, then why is it that we got all these videos with you doing and saying stuff like this? Well, why do we have these videos, Umar? Because I know he's going to get this message. So
donations, gifts.
Yeah, why do we got videos of him talking about all these donations and all this type of stuff? We got more.
The wife is white, so we're gonna stop the black talk right there.
That's some Europeans circling around the prince. I don't have to pull off the shoddy.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
I keep telling you, consciousness over coochie, politics over punani.
I almost puked, but let me stay focused.
Why are there white folks on my live? I don't even know why that's happening. This is not for black. This is only for Africans. If you are not black, this is.
Well, hold on. You know what? This is. What is Shadow Commando Spawn says, Dr. Umar, another well-known cornball who can take a seat. You know, again, I think, of course, he's a great speaker. He has a lot of things that he says that we can resonate with. But again, when your actions don't match it and you got all this garbage surrounding you, it undermines your position. And that's what he doesn't understand. He seems to think that all of this foolery that he gets involved in doesn't somehow diminish his status, because I think when he first came out, a lot of us had some respect for him, right? And there are people who donated to the school and all that. He's alienated a lot of those guys because he always says stuff like, well, if you ain't donate to the school, then I don't want to hear from you. Well, there are plenty of guys who did donate to the school who now are your detractors, and you still don't want to hear from them. Why? Because you just don't want no criticism. So that's the problem with Umar. He seems to think that somehow he's above criticism. Yeah, let me see. I got some more over here. Hold on.
So, let's get into it. Any ladies in town for the training want to accompany the prince to the Cheesecake Factory tonight?
Okay, so that's him over here talking about growth and building, right? Because he was talking about people who are his detractors are out here. They ain't talking about nothing important. I'm like, okay, Umar, let's see how important some of the stuff you've been talking about out here, right? We're just going to play a couple more of these clips. Let's go.
Any White Plains queens want to go out on a date with the prince? Free date tonight to the Cheesecake Factory? Let's get into it.
I'm gracious, but I'm not content. Because I know y'all got a lot more to give me than some $250,000. When Darren Wilson killed Michael Brown, white folks gave him $300,000 in 3 weeks for his defense. And Dr. Umar Johnson is trying to build a state-of-the-art school for black boys that y'all all know I need. And after 6 months, I only got $250,000. Trifling ass black people.
Okay, so that sounds like an ingrate to me. So you done got $250,000 of the black folks' hard-earned money, and you're calling them trifling. You know that's not good enough for you. Instead of being humble, saying, hey, you know, I know my people are struggling, you know, because all these systemic, you know, this white supremacy that I can't shut up about, you know, that's the reason why they're struggling to get this money. And he's comparing them to white folks. Yeah, you're damn right. White folks can raise that kind of money because they got an economy 10 times the size of black people. So he's going to overlook all that and then call them trifling because he didn't get the money. So, but at the same time, he doesn't want to hear criticism from people that are saying that he's dragging his ass about this whole school thing, but he can call people trifling because he didn't get as much money as he felt he should have got. So I'm just pointing this out. So again, you know, as I said, I could acknowledge when Umar, he clarified, and I thought he did a pretty good job. You know, the video where he was wearing the belts, talking about, you know, giving graphic detail about his baby mamas. If you guys have not seen it, I do recommend you see it. However, the points of contention that I have with him still stand. And one of his points that he made was that people who are out here criticizing him, they're just talking, you know, nonsense. Now, he can't, some of the stuff he was saying didn't apply to me because he was telling people they need to get a job and all this stuff. And they're YouTubians, they're struggle streamers and all that. And you guys know this is a pastime for me. I'm not out here struggle streaming. I don't fall under that definition because I'm not out here, you know, trying to do this for a living. I'm doing this to push back at propaganda and, you know, let the chips fall where they may. If this channel blows up even bigger, then that's great. It's bigger than I thought it would be already. But at the same time, you know, he was going in on people saying that they didn't have nothing better to do but talk about him or just talking about people. And then somehow he's just out here building and he's not participating in all of the nonsense. But we got all these type of clips about him, though, right? So let's get a little bit more.
I'm going to call it like I say it. And I don't care if you get offended. We can handle that outside.
So now he's threatening people. He calling them trifling and then saying they can handle it outside. That's crazy.
I should have been had that $2 million. I should have had that $2 million 30 days after I started the fundraiser on May the 20th. It don't make no sense.
Damn, so he just really entitled, isn't he?
Thank you, Sister Avanti. $10 coming on the Cash App. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Thank you, sister.
But this is the evidence right here. But this is the same guy, you know, talking all this craziness. Let's go.
Before I... Donations.
Gifts.
Donations. Gifts. More gifts.
It's intellectually masturbating old ass information.
Yeah, this is that video when he went in on Sarasun Seti, and I pointed this out last time. He was calling him Papa Smurf because he was small. But now he's calling himself Papa Smurf. That's kind of funny. And then Shadow Zulu said, ungrateful cookie monster. Yeah, he want more cookies, and they didn't give him enough cookies. That's what it was.
Like Papa Smurf.
See, he just called somebody else Papa Smurf, right? See, that proves my point, what I said last time I was here. He was calling somebody else Papa Smurf as a pejorative, but now he himself is Papa Smurf. I thought he was King Kong. But anyway, let's go.
Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. You feel me? Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this.
So I keep telling you, consciousness over coochie, politics over punani. I keep telling y'all that. Consciousness comes before coochie. That's right. The goddamn NBA is a suspect.
It's one thing to make videos. Monty Woodgrain, I'ma fuck him up too. So if you could get Monty's address, it's time for me to see Monty too. I've been as patient as I can be, and I'm tired of this shit. 1 minute.
Now watch this. Hold on, let me fast forward a little bit. Hold on.
Black Panther Party. They'll be checking hair-haired sister. Don't Eagles convention.
Factory and enjoy a private dinner. Yes. Leave no honor. Yes. Leave no dinner with the ancestors.
I'm gonna show how he's threatening people, but he's the one out here talking about how he's building, right? Watch this.
Monty Woodgrain, I'm in your ass. Lenore Honor, I'm in your ass. William Clay, I'm in your ass. Gerald Palmer, I'm in your ass. Anti Spengali, I'm in your ass. In Mukasa, Africa, I'm in your ass.
So that's how he goes in. See, he does not like when people are talking about him. So I think he was responding. He didn't go on because he know not to talk like that about over here with the Squadcast, because I might just, take him up on that if he decides he wants to put in some real work. But anyway, we don't need to go there with it. But he just, I believe he responded to what I said. So again, I can acknowledge if the fact that, by him providing more evidence that he was not under any type of court order, that's fine. But what I said against him still stands until, further notice. But anyway, we got that. Shadow Zulu says, where was your conscience, Umar, before you smashed that blue Smurf pussy? Exactly. But again, he admitted that he was wrong about that and all of that, and that it was before he was Ifa Tunde, or as I like to call him, Ifat Tunde, before he was the legend that would become Dr. Umar. So that's just a little rebuttal to that, Shadow. But anyway, that's that. So I think I settled all the stuff I needed to settle, because again, we were not here last week, so we had a lot of work to kind of deal with before we got into the topic. But I appreciate you guys rocking with me during that point. So we still been having fun. So, but anyway, let's get into this work. Let's talk about these women, right? Because I think you guys may remember this, because as the title would imply, a lot of these women are tired now, right? A lot of them are tired because they hate the dating scene and how things are going. They hate being strong and independent and all this type of stuff. So that's pretty much what we're going to be getting into. But I do want to preface some of this with how they were talking not too long ago when they were trying to say that they were going to join that Korean 4B movement, right? I think this may ring a bell, right? If y'all remember this. Check this out. Oh yeah, in Israel, when Umar was saying that, he was like, hey, yo, pause. He says, yeah, because that's who he was talking about. He didn't say he was, because when I did the mock of that last week, when I was talking about how he was going to be going in on those cookie companies like Nabisco in Pillsbury, it had you guys laughing. But I changed it to saying that I'm coming for that ass, right? I'm gonna get it. He didn't say that. He said I'm in your ass. That's what he said, and that's why Israel said pause. I had to change it because I wasn't gonna say it the way he said it, because he was talking about some dudes and talking about he was in their ass. I'm like, y'all, no. Even though I'm doing this little skit right now, I am not about to say it like that. But anyway, let's go. I want you guys to kind of recall this right here that these women was talking about not too long ago.
President-elect Trump's victory already setting off a viral storm on social media.
Start by taking back your power. It's time for action.
Some concerned women now taking radical steps. You may have seen it. Talk of the 4B movement gaining steam.
4B movement. The 4B movement. The 4B movement.
So what is it? Actually, a fringe feminist campaign from South Korea. The 4Bs, Korean for 4 no's, no marrying men, no giving birth, no dating men, and no sex with men.
There is so much pressure in South Korea for women to have kids, and women felt extremely undervalued. So they have sort of banded together to not kind of give into these societal pressures.
South Korea has the world's lowest fertility rate. Now, Google searches for 4B surging to record levels in the U.S. as one of its top trending searches in the last 48 hours.
I've been waiting for everybody else to catch up to speed for a while.
Alexa Vargas says she stopped dating men 2 years ago.
They like to keep us around for sexual pleasure, and they like to get married and have kids to have this family man sort of image, but really a lot of men don't value us.
Her TikTok post this week about 4B reaching more than 100.
You said the men don't value them, so, well, I mean, isn't it about how you respect yourself? So if you're not respecting yourself and you're being a bust down for the block, you're damn right men are not going to respect you, because that's the thing that these women don't understand, is that when they're out here running around like feral creatures with no instruction and no guidance and they keep running into these same type of dudes that just want to smash and pass. I mean, what do you expect? You know, it's kind of crazy that they think they're supposed to get some type of respect after living disrespectful lives. It's amazing. But anyway, it's funny how this was about 4 or 5 months ago, and you don't see them talking about the 4Bs anymore, right? I don't know. Maybe it was just an emotional response to Trump, and then they just decided to get on their little goofy ass campaign here, and it's just kind of weird. But let's go. And you can tell she's fake. I mean, I don't know what it is, but a lot of these Becky's all of a sudden they got these plump lips. And when I was growing up, you know, it was a thing that we knew that white women had those little those baloney lips, right? That's what we used to call them. So now all of a sudden all of them got this this duck face look. It's kind of weird, but they still all of them want a real man, and you can tell they're fake as hell. It's amazing. So you know, we know the B-dub is fake as hell, but don't get it twisted. A lot of these other Western women are just as fake. They just got their own little way of being fake. It may not be their hair, but you best believe it's their butt, it's their lips, it's their breasts. It's something fake on these broads. But anyway, let's go.
100,000 views.
I got hundreds and hundreds of comments on my TikTok talking about how women are wanting to participate in this movement now because of.
And Shadow says Thogo is still smashing them on the DL. That 4B movement is the U.S. in the U.S. is a joke. Yeah, exactly. And Israel said, yeah, a lot of white women got Botox. Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. But again, they're all fake as hell in the West, a lot of them. And then they're joining movements like this, but then they're not even consistent because, again, we're going to show how these women, they've made all these decisions, and then they're turning around talking about how tired they are about the results of their decisions. It's amazing. But let's get it.
The results of this election because women don't feel safe in this country.
My life! Adding fuel to the fire, posts from Trump supporting provocateurs with large male audiences, like white nationalist Nick Fuentes saying, "Your body, my choice, forever." And self-described misogynist influencer Andrew Tate, facing rape and sex trafficking charges in Romania, which he denies, responding to the 4B movement saying, now you don't even need abortions. Trump's Supreme Court picks helped overturn Roe v. Wade, unleashing a wave of protests nationwide. His position on abortion access has varied, but during the final stages of his campaign, saying states should decide.
Whether the women like it or not, I'm going to protect them.
The Trump campaign.
And remember, they had a problem with that. You remember when Trump said that? He said whether they like it or not, he's going to protect them. They had a problem with that. So that's crazy as hell. That's almost like somebody telling you, hey, man, whether you want it or not, I'm going to give you this money. I'm going to help you, even though you may not even think you need the help. I'm going to still give you that money. What somebody look like being offended at that? That's crazy. But they literally got mad at Trump because he said he was going to protect them. Ridiculous. But let's go.
Did not respond to a request for comment on the 4B movement as tensions build.
And you guys think it's just internet trolls? This is a problem.
A battle bursting onto our feeds and into America's culture wars.
Emily is joining us now. And Emily, this movement obviously was already out there. You talked about its origins in South Korea here, but talk about the sort of next piece of it, where it might go in the U.S.
Yeah, Hallie, you bring up a good point. There isn't anything new about swearing off men to make some kind of statement. And in fact, you can even look back to ancient Greek plays like Lysistrata, where women swore off sex to make a statement to protest war. And there's more recent examples as well. There's the trend of going boy sober and more people turning away from dating apps. Look, experts say.
Yeah, don't forget that decentering BS as well. So anyway. And for these women to talk about they've been decentering, I mean, they sure keep talking about it. So I thought decentering something would be that you wouldn't even be discussing it. So, you know, I find it highly amazing that some of these same women screaming from the rooftop that they're decentering men can't shut up about men. It's amazing. Let's go.
Do they think that we're suddenly going to see women in droves swearing off, writing off men? No, but what we are seeing is these movements, they are finding these large communities online, and they're raising questions and concerns about reproductive freedom. They're putting that at the top of mind, gender equality, and in many ways, Hallie, that is the goal for a lot of these women. By the way, you can find a deeper dive into this on our website, NBCnews.com, our digital team working on that.
Okay, but again, this is all BS because they're now
In the wake
doing
of
a
Donald
180.
Trump's
But we're going to play a
historic
little bit more about this. But this is where it stemmed from. This was just an emotional reaction to Trump getting elected. So that's why I'm showing you guys this to put into perspective, because when you juxtapose some of these other videos I'm going to show you to how they was talking back then, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Let's go.
win, there's a new movement sweeping America. Disappointed women are actually swearing off men.
There's no way I am letting any man near me for the next few years.
They're saying
Now,
no.
now you remember this one, right? And remember, it's the women that look like this that got the nerve to talk about their night. I mean, come on, bro. She's talking about she's not letting a man near her. She ought to be happy if a man accidentally bumps into her on an elevator, if she can fit on one. This woman is delusional as hell, just like a lot of them. This is crazy. Let's go.
Next few years.
They're saying no to dating, no to marriage, no to sex.
Celibacy, at least to me, isn't that hard.
And no to having children.
Like so many other women in America who have been considering trying to get pregnant, I woke up today and said, nope, not anymore.
This woman is actually shaving her head in protest. It's being called the 4B movement, and women are taking to social media declaring their allegiance.
The 4B movement was actually started by women in South Korea back in 2019 as part of their version of the Me Too movement. The number 4 refers to dating, marriage, sex, and children.
This movement's way more important now than ever.
26-year-old Alexa Vargas joined the movement 2 years ago and expects a surge of interest in the wake of the Trump victory.
So you, in 2022, swore off dating forever.
Not forever. We're not going to settle for low-value men that don't respect us anymore.
So in other words, guys, that just means that she got tired of getting busted down and getting game ran on her. So that's pretty much the quick version of that. That's the translation of what she said. Because, you know, you got to do whole math and you got to do the whole translations and all that kind of stuff. So, and then Shadow says, video is not playing, only the audio is playing. Oh, you know what? I'm not sure. I think it may have been jumping. I'm done with that one. So I'm going to move on to the next video. Because now we're going to get into, I'm going to give you guys a little break from some of that goofiness. Because the other thing that I'm going to do is talk about how, you know, things could have been different. Because instead of them running their damn mouth, you know, they could have just been doing stuff like this. And again, Shadow, this is for you because I know you like this right here. But I think I got something for all you guys in the house.
Long live the king, you know it. King already, you know it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and put this back up. So Shadow, this is for you. And I think I got something for some of you guys that's in the house right now. So this is all they really have to do. But they you know, they couldn't do it.
Long live the king, you know it. King already, you know it. Top everything, you know it. King already, you know it. My body so got a king body. Body gon' shine, bling bling body. Calling all the shots, ring body. Crown on your head, got a king body. Don't live the key, you a king, you know it. King already, my baby, you know it. Top everything, you know it. King already.
Can you see the video now, Shadow? It's a different video, but I'm playing this, you know, a little something for some of you guys in here because, again, we're talking about how these women are tired because of some of the BS decisions that they've made, but life could have been a lot easier for them if they just kind of, you know, made sandwiches and kept it quiet and, you know, did a little dance or two here and there. Not twerking and all that garbage that they like to do, but just, you know, being a little bit more fit and, you know, in shape and, you know, better attitudes and just overall nice dispositions. And, you know, maybe things would have worked out a little better for them in the West. But anyway, I digress. So he said, you know, I like them African babes. Yeah, so again, I got something for everybody, I think, in the house tonight. So this was for you, Shadow. Let's go.
Top everything, you know it. King already, you know it. My body so got a king body. Body gon' shine, bling bling body. Calling all the shots, ring ring body. Crown on your head, got a king body. Don't live the key, you a king, you know it. King already, my baby, you know it. Top everything, everything, you know it. King already, already, you know it. Shine already, it's time already. Align already, it's time already. Shine already, it's time already. Align already, it's time already.
Yeah, so there you go, Shadow. And Israel says, can't be a slut one day and expect a man means to come take care of you. It don't work that way. Exactly. And for you, Israel, you made a good point. So I got something for you, Israel. Very good point. Like I said, for everybody in the house, I got something. But I think Israel may like something like this right here. Let me go load this up for Israel. Let me know if this is cool with you, Israel. Hold on. I know you guys got different palettes over here for the eye candy that you like. So I think Israel likes this right here.
To 10, I'd like to know that. How horny is everybody on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd like to know that. Okay, I'll go first. Solid 10.
I think even Shadow liked that one. But I wanted to hear from Israel, though. Let me play it back. It's kind of skipping a little bit. Hold on. It's a short video, but here's another one. Well, hold on.
How horny is everybody on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd like to know that. Okay, I'll go first. Solid 10.
All right. So, yeah, then we got something, if you like it a little more malleated, we got this one for you. A little bit more. When you treat me like that, when you treat me. And, not really feeling the hair, but I think the body is working. You know what I mean? So we got a little bit going right here. So let's. Like that. You're pushing me harder. You're pushing me harder. When you're breaking my back. When you're breaking my. He said, "Is it Afro Latinas?" Oh, that's what you like, Israel? Because I thought you liked the more exotic look ones like that. But yeah, I think we keep those stocked. We got the Afro Latinas, bro. I think this might be one. Well, I think she's African. No, I think her right here, but I believe she's African. I'm gonna play this. We're gonna get back to the other clips. Hold on.
It's when I melt into you. I'm melting to you.
So Israel said yes. So I didn't know you liked the deep chocolate like that. That's more like my speed. So Israel, that's you, bro. You like that too, huh? He said we can fix the hair, but look at that skin. Yeah, exactly. She's gorgeous, right? Let me play it back. Hold on. Let's go. Are you talking about this one or are you talking about the one I played before? Because both of them nice. The one I just played before this or the one... Because I think my chat might be a little behind. Because I got two chats. I got the one that you see on the screen right here. And then I got another one that I think is moving a little faster. Let me look at that one. But anyway, let's get it.
It's when I melt into you. I'm melting to you.
Yeah, so again, life would be a lot easier for a lot of these women if they just, were seen and not heard in some instances. So, not to say that we don't need to hear some of their opinions that we can, overrule at our discretion. But certainly things would go a lot smoother for the women in the West if they just took more heed to some of the things that women around the world have learned and are doing. As we say, learning the fine art of, getting sandwiches and beverages and, performing various horizontal acts, that would make life a lot easier. So I think at some point they're going to realize that, but it may be too late because you guys would, already have your passports by then. But anywho, Israel says, I like anything melanated. Okay. He says the one before, but this chick is cold too. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I feel you. So like I said, I felt like, because I think I played a clip before, Israel, and it was a woman that looked more like the one I played, and you was really liking her. So that's why I figured that was more like your speed. But okay, I'll give you that. So you're in line with me and Shadow and a couple other guys as far as really liking the melanin. Okay, cool. But let's get into some of these other things that these women are tired of, because again, I showed you the video that a lot of these Western modern women, they were talking about how they were going to be on this 4B, meaning no men, no sex, no children, no marriage, all this stuff, right? Okay, now, why do we see these type of videos cropping up when they don't need men, right? So they're so tired, but at the same time, they're making videos like this.
Damn it, oh yeah! I'm broke as go. But it's not even my fault that I'm broke.
I am sick and freaking tired. I am sick and freaking tired of working full-time, making over $18 an hour, and still not being able to make ends meet. I drag myself out of bed every single day to go to a job, knowing that I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. Do you know how saddening that is? Because I need something to supplement my income. Groceries, gas, all of the things, living life.
It's amazing how, for people who fought and protested and burnt bras and all this stuff to get into this position, they sure as hell don't like the position that they fought so hard. So how are you sick and tired of a situation that you fought to be in? At the very least, you're supposed to just grin and bear it and say, hey, this is what we fought for. At least have the goddamn integrity to say, listen, we protested. Our mothers and foremothers, they really wanted this. They wanted us to be able to work. They didn't want to be at home being, quote, slaves, which is ridiculous because our grandmothers never saw it like that. They saw themselves as being, I don't know, family women, taking care of the family. They didn't see themselves as being part of some oppression as a function of them just taking care of the children that they had and allowing the man who was the breadwinner to go out and do what he does, and then for her to play her position and take care of the family. For some reason, these women felt that was oppressive, these modern westernized women. And so now they're out here slaving for corporations, and they don't like it too much. But, it's amazing. But let's get some more.
I am made for more than paying bills and dying.
Now let's talk about the Mercedes-Benz, which is a crazy story. They can't find the car. For those who saw my video about the worst cars I ever bought, then you already know that car was terrible. So I told them to pick it up as soon as I filed for bankruptcy. 2 weeks ago, I get a nasty letter saying that they're about to come and pick up the vehicle. 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so again, these women are some of the worst managers of money. They are some of the top people that are filing bankruptcy, filing for, they're being foreclosed on, they're being evicted, all of these different things. But remember, this is what they fought so hard to get. They're sick and tired of the decisions that they made. And what I'm going to do a little bit later, I'm going to introduce something that I call the reverse dissection. Because, as I said, the good thing about me and when it comes to jokers like this and other people who like to take some of my talking points, they don't have mastery of the concept, so they can't really flip things the way I do when it comes to this. So I'm going to introduce something that I call the reverse dissection, because at this point I've did enough dissecting. I'm going to continue to do them, but I just kind of going to put them on autopilot, because a lot of the things that I've said, it's just kind of manifesting on its own. And right now, these women are dissecting themselves, because I'm going to pose this in the form of a question. And I want you guys to pay attention to the point I'm going to make a little bit later, because I think a lot of times, these women don't understand or realize that they are confirming everything that we've said. And the fact that a lot of them now are talking about how tired they are, there's a point that I think they're overlooking in that I'm going to point out a little bit later. So let's get a little bit more.
Keep in mind, I said in March of this year, I gave them the car back. I figured it was just an honest mistake. So I called the bank. I said, hey, you all made a mistake. You all said that you were going to repossess the vehicle, but you all already have the vehicle. You all had it since March. They are still doing research to try to find that car now.
Is anyone else out here selectively bougie? Like, I will not spend more than $20 on a pair of leggings, but I'm also like, I wonder if I could afford that $70,000 Tahoe.
Yeah, she is watching her car get towed.
Women are very chaotic by nature. Chaos is always part of their lives. It's always running in the background like a bad software on a computer. Don't let the beautiful smile, the big booty, or the gorgeous eyes fool you.
It's the 5th of September and I'm literally out of money for the month. I paid my bills, aka I paid my rent, which leaves me every single month with $600 left over. Next, my car payment. That takes another good chunk. Don't forget car insurance. Oh, also, don't forget, I went to the doctor one time. $100 finally got posted today. My electric bill. Electric bills have been going up like crazy. Like my bill used to be $45.
So this is what's called being an adult, right? And somehow these women are behaving like children that just got out on their own. And some of these women at their big age, they've at least been on their own, I would say, for the greater part of the last decade. But somehow they're acting as if this is brand new. And that's why I say they be out here acting brand new. Like they didn't know that as a grown adult, you were not going to have bills. You were not going to have the responsibility of making sure that, especially when you were the one that claimed that you could do it by yourself and that you don't need no man and all this type of stuff. Why is it such a surprise to these women that they have to pay some damn bills? It's amazing. But let's go.
It was $93. And then that isn't even me doing.
Oh, and then Shadow says the videos are seriously lagging. Okay, let me see what's going on here. I thought it was, because on my end, it looks like it's real time. So it's telling me my connection is good. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, Shadow. But let me double check something. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, bro. So let me update something here. Yeah, whenever you guys, if it starts lagging or something, let me know so that I can make some type of adjustments, because on my end, it looks like it's okay. Because I sometimes can see if it's lagging and then I can kind of fix it. But right now, you know, I wasn't getting any indication that it was lagging, except for Shadow Zulu. So he let me know. So let me just double check something here. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to keep playing it, Shadow. So let me know if you're still seeing it lag, okay?
Food. And if you know anything about food prices lately.
Oh yeah, you know what? I do see something here. Yeah, it is giving me a message. So let me try to repair something. I think you guys can still hear me, right? Yeah, I don't know why these connect. 'Cause I got top of the line connection, so it shouldn't be my connection. I don't know if it's know what's going on. Maybe it's the program, but let me take it down real quick. So I want to make sure. So Shadow, let me know. Is it just the videos that are lagging? It's not me lagging, or you can hear me just fine. Is that right? Yeah. So let me know if it's just the video, because I know some of the videos, what I notice is it depends on the size of the video. The same thing used to happen over on StreamYard, where some videos would not even play if the file size was too big. But this one, it plays the videos, but depending on the file size, it may lag. So I think this file size might be the reason that it could be lagging a little bit, but just, let me know. Yeah, let me know if you are having that issue. I'm going to put it back on the screen. He says, you can tell by the chat also it takes 1 or 2 minutes for the chat to show up on the screen. Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed that the chat, see, I got different chats up, right? So one of them looks like it's more real time, but the one that's on the screen that you guys can see, that's on this main screen, the neon chat, I think it's maybe a little behind. Yeah, so I think you might be right about that. So let me put this video back on the screen, Shadow, and anybody else is still in the house, because I see some people still in the house. You guys let me know if it's still lagging, and I'll make some adjustments here, because I want you to hear these particular goofball chicks is what they're saying, because I want you to, you know, see me dissect this stuff in real time. So let me go ahead and play this again. Let me know if you can know if it's
Frozen vegetables cost upwards of $1.50 to $2 a bag. Chicken, 2 chicken breasts the other day cost me $8. So yeah, it's the 5th of the month. I literally have basically no money left for the month, and I'm not sure what to do the rest of September. So if you're in the same boat, please comment down below, because I'm genuinely curious. Are we all?
Oh, okay, so he said I'm writing this chat right now at 126, but the comment will appear at 128. You know what? I can see it in real time, but on the it should be real time. I don't know if there's a setting or something that, you know, is delaying the chat, because I thought everything was real time, but I may have to look into that. But I can see what you just typed, Shadow, so on that one. So I think it depends. But what I want to hear from you though is if the video, I'm gonna let it play, but I want to make sure that it's still not lagging on your end, so that you can still see it and hear it. Let's go.
All in our 20s, basically broke, and have no idea how we're supposed to ever save for a house or have money left over in general every month.
I am 41 years old and I have absolutely no savings for retirement. I've spent the last 10 or 12 years being a broke single mom, and at times living off of food stamps. Any time I've ever gotten ahead financially, I've always had a setback. Always had a setback. I'm currently.
It's even giving me a notice that the connection is excellent. So again, I know it may be coming and going because, as I said, I got top of the line high-speed internet connection. So if there's lag, then I think it has more to do with maybe the program or how, you know, YouTube's receiving the data. So I have to maybe look into that. But, you know, the interface between the program and YouTube right now, it's giving me feedback. It's telling me that the connection is excellent. So hopefully, if it was just a temporary lag, you can see it. Okay, so Shadow says it's still lagging. Okay, so I'm going to let it play. And, hopefully, you can still hear it, though. So let's go.
Like $14,000 in credit card debt and $83,000 in student loan debt. And I don't even have a master's degree. I went to University of Phoenix and got scammed, and I'm hoping to get my University of Phoenix loans forgiven, but that's...
So that's just it. See, you see these women, they're doing all this bootleg type of stuff. And again, I'm not knocking if, you know, some people want to go to University of Phoenix or whatever to get their degree. That it is what it is. But at the same time, these women, especially with the B-dubs, they'll claim that they're the most educated, but they're just the most enrolled, and they'll be enrolled in some of those type of schools. And meanwhile, they'll be trying to put down black men for not being as enrolled in them, because black men are doing things in the real world and making real money, whether they're doing carpentry or bus driving or truck driving or whatever they're doing, right? They're out in the real world. And somehow these women will get this false sense of superiority, like they're better just because they're more enrolled in school, and a lot of them don't wind up finishing anyway. So it's amazing. And the differential between, even with all of that, the differential between black men and black women in school is not that high. I think it's like a 3% differential. I think we looked at that on Black Demographics a while ago when it came to the number of black men who were enrolled versus black women. And it's really not that big of a difference. And that difference is made up partially due to the difference in population, because there's more of them than black men. Is also there are other extraneous factors as well that we don't need to really get into, such as you know, a lot of black men being more victims of certain, you know, crimes and things like that. So, or being incarcerated and so forth. So there's a differential with that, which would account for the fact that there are more of them in school. But it doesn't really mean much if they're out here struggling, living in cars, while at the same time talking about how they don't need a man. It's amazing. But let's get some more. Oh, and Shadow says, dudes better not marry her and accumulate her $83,000 student loan debt. Yeah, exactly. See, that's the other part, Shadow, that they like to conveniently overlook, which is when a guy is taking on a wife who has that type of debt, then that is his problem at that point as well. Because, you know, if that's the wife and, you know, and you're under the same household, same expenses, that at the very least, even if she's just paying it off herself, that's taking money away from the household to go and pay off her student debt. So at the end of the day, what type of asset are you when you're bringing to the table, or you're bringing to the situation, especially if that man, he himself does not have that kind of debt because he didn't go to school. He went to work right out of high school or whatever. He got a certification, or he got some type of, you know, CDL or HVAC or whatever. He's doing, you know, carpentry or something else where he's making a good living. But you, on the other hand, you got a sociology degree that you're paying $80,000 for, and you're not bringing in a commensurate amount of money to contribute to the household. So that's the part that they like to overlook, which is why a lot of men are opting out of getting married, specifically in the West these days, right? So, yeah, let's get this other clip right here. Oh, I thought this was funny. This is how some of these women who, you know, when it comes to paying, you know, they want to claim that they are equal and 50-50 and all that when it comes to, you know, the benefits and so forth. But when it comes to responsibility, or if, you know, they're out on a date or something like this, and then this is how they start ducking the the bill. Watch this. It's a skit, but it's funny. Watch this. Well, let me put this on the screen. Hold on, let me load this. Hold on.
So here's your bill.
Yeah, so that's the, you know, there you go right there. Let me play that again.
So here's your bill.
But yeah, so again, as men, specifically when we're in cultures around the world and we are enjoying the company of a nice lady, and she's giving the requisite amount of femininity and all of this, most of us guys who are about something, we don't have a problem, you know, taking a woman to a nice restaurant and, you know, paying the bill and all that, because those women are cultured in such a way as to say, hey, they know that you're the man, they know that there's no equality, and they are playing their position. So that's automatically going to make a man who's masculine get in his role, or just being who he is. And we like to do it. We don't have a problem, you know, having a good time with a woman, especially if she's giving, as I said, the amount of femininity and the amount of courtesy and the things that make us attracted to them, as opposed to giving off all this masculine energy that they do in the West. Of course, you're going to get a response commensurate with the energy that you're putting out. And that's what they don't understand. When you're bucking up at a man, talking about you can do everything he can do, but only better, and how you don't need him. But then, yeah, he's going to look at you like, you know, that's how masculinity responds. Masculinity responds to hostility and aggression, and masculinity with masculinity. We respond to aggression with aggression. So a lot of these women, that's what they get it twisted. When you bring that feminine energy, then we respond as a masculine man. That makes us get more in line with our nature and wanting to do that protection and providing, but somehow they don't know how to connect those dots, right? And meanwhile, they're out here screaming and whining about how they're tired about every damn thing, such as paying bills. But, it's really interesting. But, and then they want to give each other bad advice like this right here and leave it to the B-dub to be some of the main people out here contaminating the pool with their idiocy. But anyway, we know how they do. Yeah, he said, Shadow laughed. He said, yeah, ducking the bill. Yeah, she ducked the hell out of that bill, boy. But she be ducking a whole lot of other stuff too. But but anyway. And let me play this clip.
Why would you allow a man who can't even pay your bill to be playing in your face? Next caller. If you want the man with the money who pay the bills, you need to look like money. You need to be money. You need to transform yourself into the best version of yourself.
Okay, now you listen to this goofiness which she's talking about. Now, again, let me ask this question to you guys, because I think maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I've been out of the loop for so long, because those of you who know, I've not really lived in the States in about a decade. I have visited, but the game has changed very substantially since I can remember. And the last time I checked, when you start talking about bills and stuff like that, that was not conversation for a first damn date. Or it's just amazing that all of these life decisions and things that are being discussed as it pertains to just initial dating, that's marriage talk. These women want to talk about stuff that they should be talking about with their husband. If you're taking a woman out on a first date and she's talking about her freaking household bills, there's some type of miscommunication going on, because that's crazy to me. I don't understand at what point did things morph from you just going out on a coffee date, getting to know somebody, and if it works out, okay, bam, then we can meet again, and maybe we'll go to brunch, or maybe I'll take you to dinner at that point, and then it kind of progresses, and then somewhere down the line, after we've been dating for about, I don't know, a year or so, and we decide, oh, we love each other and we want to move in or something crazy or whatever, then we can start talking about who's divvying up the bills, or if I'm going to pay the bills or whatever. But for these broads to be talking about this stuff on the first date, or even before they even got a date, it's ridiculous to me. But this is crazy. Let's get some more of this foolery. Oh, yeah, and he said, Shadow says, I'll pay for the whole bill for feminine women, but I will never pay or take an ungrateful woman out on a date. Exactly. It's not even a question as to whether or not who's going to pay the bill for that type of woman, because she's not even going on the date, at least not with me. So I feel you on that, Shadow. He said, who thinks in their right mind for me to pay for them? Exactly. He says, I'm very good at deciphering an ungrateful woman. Yeah, me too. That's one thing I have a very keen detective eye for, as per the Dark Knight. So let's get the rest of this foolery.
Attract a man with money, because when you become the money, he's doing the most to keep you, not you doing the most to keep him. Enroll in high value women one-on-one. It will change your perspective.
Okay, so she got a course to sell, so that's the type of BS advice they're giving each other. And, it's all weird, and the results of what all that comes to is what these women are out here screaming about, as far as they're talking about they're tired. And they're tired of going on these dates. They're tired of getting bussed down like this right here. Now pay attention to this conversation.
So I want to talk about
with these women, right? These women have begun. Look, they've become, these modern westernized women have been so busted down that they have these type of discussions about the finer points about how many rounds that the man can do, and how I just want you to pay attention to this conversation, and at the same time just look to how jaded they are, and how what type of advantage do you have as a man to get with these type of women who've already had these type of experiences, when a lot of us who have accomplished certain things, we like to deal with women who have not been around the block. And that's not to say just physically, that means that they did not have all these different experiences, right? Because we like to be the first one to show women certain things, whether it's on a physical level or if it's just having an experience or going somewhere. A lot of these women have been through the ringer head first, and then they wonder why their doors are not getting beat down by guys who are trying to get with them. It's amazing. But let's get some of this foolery.
So we want to talk about the men that are very blessed to be able to nut and get it back up. But is it a blessing or is it a curse?
Only one time. If you keep doing that shit, you got to get the fuck up out of my house.
Okay, so these women sitting up here, they're so demanding, and she's talking about a guy who, because remember, they on the one hand, they're talking about how they don't want no 1 minute man and all this type of stuff, but if there's a man who can, get it up and keep going, for whatever reason, then they're saying she's talking about he got to get up out of her house, right? So they're tired of even getting the type of men who they used to say they wanted, but now they're not just tired of the whole dating scene, but they're tired of, getting busted down by jail, the jailbird that just got out, the thuggo who hadn't been with a woman in about 5 years, so he gets out of jail, and so he got a lot builded up, so he can go multiple rounds. But they don't they don't want that no more, so they want to put him out now. But I just find this to be amazing. But let's get it.
Yeah, I don't like.
Or I gotta get up out of your house. One of us got to go.
Well, I've definitely had a guy that was like, he goes to the bathroom.
You see how she's recounting her experiences. So again, she said she had a guy, so it wasn't her only guy. It wasn't the first guy. It was probably a long list of guys. But this one guy, she's just particularly. So you got women who can sit around like this and give war stories about getting their uterus penetrated. It's really kind of unfortunate that you would have to be the guy who would come behind all those other guys and deal with something like that. So that's the reason why we highlight this, to show you how worn out and tired these women are. They're not just tired psychologically and economically, they're tired physically because they've had all these damn war stories about, how they begin getting passed around like a blunt at Snoop Dogg's house. And it's amazing that they wonder why they can no longer feel the things that a woman needs to feel to be able to pair bond with a man. So it's amazing, but let's get it.
Said right back. Let's get it again.
Niggas do not be trying to fuck again after we done. They just cannot.
A word to the wise: do not deal with women who use the N-word. I use it sparingly over here because I don't really like to use the N-I-G-G-A, and certainly not the N-I-G-G-E-R. We say Negro or something like that. But every once in a while it might slip out. But we try to be very judicious with some of our language over here, not because we care about sensitivities, but just out of being respectful and so forth. But because we're more articulate than that. But we let some things fly over once in a while. But again, we're men over here, right? Very masculine Sigma men at that. But as a pointer for you guys, and I'm sure a lot of you guys might even feel this way, when they just loosely start talking like this, that's also an example of how much mileage they have on them. Because I don't particularly find that attractive if a woman's using a lot of profanity, or if she's using the N-word and so forth. It just shows a very low brow, low grade, and shows you the circumstances that she's come from and that she's been in. And it's not really going to end well if you happen to find yourself dealing with a lot of women like that. So just a word to the wise, but let's get the rest of this foolery.
Physically cannot.
I don't think being tired has anything to do with it. I like a lot of sensual sex, so I don't be like, throw it back, do it like this.
But I also am not a person, I don't like long sex. I came to do what I gotta do. Then I'm gonna get up and make you a sandwich.
Okay, well, she got that part right, but anyway.
Look grilled turkey.
So you a good woman. I feel like you should have.
But how many of them sandwiches she done made for dudes? That's all. That's the thing. And then Shadow Zulu says, He says, my masculine energy does not match with another masculine energy. I smell any masculine energy coming from her, and I'm dumping her immediately. Yeah, you know, Shadow, that's a word right there, 100. That's a word, because that's what they don't understand. That's very unattractive for a guy. The only type of guy that attracts is guys who like other masculinity. I mean, for some reason, they're too dense to be able to figure that out. Just like a real feminine woman should not be attracted to another feminine woman. That doesn't really match, right? So the fact that these women display these type of masculine traits and they wonder why they're not being selected, or the dudes would rather get a passport than to deal with them, is amazing to me. Got my man Cortez Smith in the house. Salute, bro. Good to see you. Yeah, we've been over here having fun, man. I'm glad you can make it into the house. Salute. Let's get a little bit more of this.
Marathon sex with your partner at least every like 3-4 months.
Okay.
Like there needs to be a 3-4 day period where y'all just fucking a lot.
And I'm cool with that happening occasionally.
But anyway, so I want you guys to see that to show you how discerning and how much experience these women have, where they can sit here and talk about the finer points of how they've gotten their backs blown out over the years and how they have certain preferences about, you know, certain things. And for a woman to be able to talk that candidly, that's a form of masculinity, because that's kind of how guys would do, you know, like the locker room talk. But, you know, in the age of the podcast, you know, we get to see it, you know, in real time. But this is how a lot of women been talking, you know, especially nowadays with a lot of these modernized Western women. So it just gives off a very, as Shadow said, a very masculine type of energy, and it's very unattractive. And most of us who are very masculine Sigma type guys, we definitely can sniff that out, and we ain't here for it. We don't deal with it. Some of you guys might still smash and dash, but you're not going to deal with that in any significant long-term fashion. So it's unfortunate that a lot of them have not figured that out yet, but it's to their own detriment. But let's get a little bit more. We got some more here. Because this, to me, is one of the main issues as to why these women just don't get it. And they're just kind of falling throughout life. And we're going to take a little comedy break here to show you that what they've been doing, not just economically, but socially and all this. A lot of these women are just being clumsy and making the worst decisions possible. And I think this little compilation right here speaks to that, you know, what's been going on. So we're going to play this for a little laugh break. Goofy as hell.
Whoa!
Yeah, so that's just a physical example of how. Oh, you know what? I had because I've been taking the screen down to try to see if it would help with the buffering. So yeah, let me play this back. I think you may have heard it, but you didn't see it. I'm gonna play it back. I didn't put the window back up. My fault. So yeah, let me put the window back up for you guys because you didn't see any of that. You may have heard it, but I'm gonna play it back. Just a little quick compilation of a lot of these women kind of, you know, showing how they're going through life, stumbling and fumbling everywhere, and how it's kind of ridiculous for them to be claiming how they're so independent and whatnot, and they can barely even get through life. And then he said, Cortez says, and because they try to be men. Yeah, exactly. But check this out right here. Yeah, I know, Shadow. I had to put the window back up. I had it closed when I was playing it. But yeah, it's just a little short video, but it's funny. So I'm going to play it again for you. Here it is. Give me a moment. Yeah, so that that just illustrates the failures that be going on with a lot of the westernized women out there. It's kind of funny how the very ones fronting like they have everything together end up stumbling through life like that. But anyway, let's get a little bit more, because now they're complaining about dating, and it's not working out as well as they would like either. So we're gonna see them talking about how tired they are of that as well. Let's get that up on the screen here shortly. And then Shadow says, do you think the chat log on the screen might be what is showing your stream or slowing your stream or making your video lag? I don't think that's it, Shadow, because it's been times where we're moving fine with that on the screen. I think it just depends on the connection. Sometimes, even though, like I said, I got top of the line here, sometimes we do use the VPNs and so forth. So it may depend on which VPN I'm using. So I'm going to have to investigate that as well. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you, thinking of possibilities, because I didn't think of that. And that might, I don't think it does, because there have been situations where it didn't affect it. So, and plus, I don't think that takes up a lot of energy. Anyway, check this out.
No calls, I understand. No text, I understand.
I'm sick and tired of getting myself cute, doing my makeup, get told we're gonna meet.
Looks like you got a lot more work to do, but anyway.
Get told we're gonna go on a date, and then it never happened.
Listen, I'm tired of wasting my time. I am done. I'm done.
Who's gonna come rescue me?
I'm tired of wasting my time.
I haven't gotten past the texting phase.
First of all, there's no such thing as relationships anymore, apparently. It's all just hooking up, friends with benefits, and never-ending talking stages.
Who's gonna come rescue me?
If you're not gonna be upset.
But that's what they wanted, though. I mean, isn't that the goal of being independent? You don't want to be under the tutelage of one particular man, so now you get to be for the streets, right? That's the alternative. The alternative to being under the guidance and tutelage and authority of one man is to be for the streets, and that's what the alternative is. And now they don't like it. They're tired of it. It's amazing.
Mess with me? Go ahead and give my number to your friend. Go ahead and hand that over.
No time for me, I understand. But when
So Israel says, oh, well. And then Shadow says, I said that because I remember your videos never used to lag. I noticed it only started to lag when you started showing chat logs on the screen. Oh, well, like I said, I think it has more to do with the size of the actual video. Because some of the video files are larger and then they lag more. But when I do the shorts, they tend not to lag as much. So I think it does have to do with that. I may have to go in and see if there's a way to maybe increase the settings to maybe be able to handle the higher size files. But yeah, I do appreciate your feedback, Shadow, because I know you're a tech guy as well. So I appreciate your insights on that. But yeah, I'm going to try to do certain things. But from what I discovered already, it has more to do with the size of the file. And then Israel says, God will rescue you because I'm not. Exactly. Let's get it.
you see me with someone else, I hope you understand.
Is that a promise?
I do not understand men. I don't.
I have 27 guys that have matched with me that I've never met in person. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Am I not cute enough?
So I'm just sitting here trying to understand why I look this good and I am this single.
Okay, boys. I'm a single 30-year-old woman. I do my own yard work. I pay my own bills. I pay my own taxes. I keep my dog alive wherever he is. What am I doing wrong?
If you're not gonna be obsessed with me, go ahead and give my number to your friend. Go ahead and hand that over.
Like, I have my own money, I have my own mind, I have my own business, but I don't have my own man. Like, how?
Man, look, man, this right here exemplifies the delusion, right? So everything that they're saying, they're not talking about anything about what they can do to enrich a man's life, make his life better. It's all about them, right? Oh, they have this, they can do this. You notice that, right? It's very much them just expressing how good they feel they are. They don't care or not, or they can't look at it from the perspective of what a man might want, because of everything that the men say that they want, that's what they're vehemently opposed to. But everything that they think you guys should want, that's what they want to keep presenting, because that's what they value. See, they value that, and they think that somehow you're supposed to value it because they value it. Damn what you really want, right? So that's the part that's so funny about this. But let's get a little bit more.
I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired.
Yeah, so they're tired, all right. So again, that's the whole thing about how these women are complaining about being sick and tired of their own decisions, because they will go on a date like this and wonder why the dude is gonna leave, right? Well, check this out. Listen to this delusional woman right here. Just check this out. Let me load this clip up. And in Israel's, let me see, I think somebody, no, that was Shadow. He says audio is 100%, but video is lagging 99%. Okay, so Shadow, you saying it's lagging 99%, meaning it's only playing 1%, or is it only playing 99%? Which one is it? Because on my end, it looks like it's, it's real time. So that's the thing. I got to find out exactly why that's happening, because again, other than the size of the videos, that's the only thing that kind of
y'all please tell me why I went. Y'all please.
So I got another video on the screen now. This one's relatively short, I believe. Let me see. Look at the file size of it. Yeah, this one's just about less than a minute, so it should play without lagging. But I'm gonna play it, so let me know if this one's lagging too. So let's get it.
Y'all please tell me why I went on a date last night, me and my 8 kids, and the man left us at the table.
What?
Okay, so I had been talking to this man for a few months now, or whatever like that. He knew I had 8 kids. So last night he wanted to take me out on a date. So he was already at the restaurant, and I was home, getting myself together. So he was like, "Where you at?" I'm at.
So if he knew she had 8 kids, y'all know what he was going on a date for, right? Because she said he was. So what's the only reason why this dude decided to go on a date with this woman right here with 8 kids? Right? Y'all know what it is.
At the restaurant, so I was like, yeah, I'm home, getting me and my kids together. He did not say anything. We get to the restaurant, he did.
Yeah, okay, Shadow. Yeah, I definitely hear you, but this video that I'm playing now, can you hear and see this one? I'm gonna run it back. I'm just gonna let it play, because I thought it was coming through a lot better. Because again, I can see it real time. So if it's slow on your end, I think it has something to do with how YouTube is receiving the data. So let me go back and try to reset something going on over there on the studio. Because where I'm watching it from the program, it looks good. But I think the way YouTube is receiving the data, for some reason, it's receiving it slow. And another thing, you got to remember that I'm, in a different location. So that might have a little bit to do with it as well. But I'm going to let this play through without interruption. Just let me know if it, because sometimes I am pausing it, so I don't know if that's part of it too. He said, yes, even that video of the woman in the car is lagging 95%. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Israel answered the question. He said he want that easy lay, exactly. But check out this story, though. Check this out.
Y'all, please tell me why I went on a date last night, me and my 8 kids, and the man left us at the table. Okay, so I had been talking to this man for a few months now or whatever like that. He knew I had 8 kids. So last night he wanted to take me out on a date. So he was already at the restaurant and I was home, you know, getting myself together. So he was like, where you at? You know, I'm at the restaurant. So I was like, yeah, I'm home, you know, getting me and my kids together. He did not say anything. We get to the restaurant. He then says, why did you bring your kids?
Girl, was you going on a date or interviews for a father?
So now I'm looking at him like, sir, why wouldn't I bring my kids? So he ain't said nothing else. We ordered our food. We eating, you know, chopping it up or whatever like that. Then he said he needed to go to the restroom. Y'all, please tell me why this man went to the restroom and never came back.
And she seems surprised at that. That's an amazing level of delusion for this woman to say, why would she not bring her kids? Maybe because the dude didn't say he was taking you to freaking Disney World on him. He was supposed to take out to dinner, and like Israel said, it was just for the easy lay. I mean, and again, I think that's part of the reason why a lot of these women have that type of entitlement, because with 8 kids, she shouldn't even be on the dating market. She needs to work out whatever's going on with her baby daddy or daddies or whatever. But that's crazy. And for dudes to be out here even entertaining that, I mean, I think that's part of the problem. But I know what it is. You know, they out there, you know, definitely trying to get the easy lay. But again, you know, he realized that she was so delusional that she had the, you know, the gall to even bring the kids on a date. So he was out. So it is what it is. But, you know, it's crazy. But this is the type of stuff they're tired of. You know, they're tired of getting ghosted by dudes when they try to bring their 8 kids on them, and they wonder why the guy is, you know, heading for the hills. Another thing too, you know, with all these women being so, you know, independent, I've mentioned this before, but you ever notice a lot of these women, they are very much afraid of insects and things like that. So I'm sure they're tired of, you know, being afraid of, you know, little creatures and stuff like that, and having to rely on a man to have to kill these type of creatures. So I got a couple, you know, short little videos of how these women respond when they see, you know, little insects, you know, stuff that we used to catch when we were like 8 and 9 years old, and they're terrified of it, and they got to get their brothers or fathers to come kill it for them, but yet they don't need men. It's amazing. Check this out.
There is a spider in my room, and it is on my ceiling, which means it could fall on my head. So I did what any good sister would do, and I texted my brother. There is a spider in my room. There is a spider in my room, and it is on my ceiling, which means it could fall on my head. So I did what any good sister would do, and I texted my brother to please come get it for me, and he killed it. He saved the day. This was all happening at 3 a.m., so thankfully I can finally go to bed and look at that beautiful space where the spider is now gone.
Okay, so she couldn't go to sleep until her brother came and killed the spider, right? Crazy. It is. Shadows. He said restroom getaway portal. Yeah, that's what he did. He used the bathroom restroom. Yeah, it's like, you know, a different dimension. He just went into the bathroom and went, you know, he went into a whole nother parallel universe, getting away from her. That's crazy. But yeah, this is how they be reacting to these insects, though.
Ruckersville, Virginia. Madeline from Ruckersville, Virginia was just trying to get home when a kissing bug, aka an assassin bug, rudely interrupted her day.
I think we used to catch stuff like that, but anyway. So that's how they respond. But them the same ones talking about that they chose the bear. And by the way, the bear didn't choose them back, though. That's the crazy part. They chose the bear, but they're scared of little insects like that. It's amazing. Yeah, we got some more. We got some more right here.
I don't want to be independent.
A break from dating, and I didn't need a man. Changed my mind. I'll take whoever. Just like get here ASAP.
It's so fucking exhausting and draining to act like
Now, what happened to the 4B movement? I mean, what happened to that? I don't know.
everything is okay.
Now I'm like,
I don't want to be this strong, independent woman. I don't.
I can't believe I used to truly feel so empowered by being like, I would never let a man support me fully. It took me 2 years in corporate America to be like, yourself. I would love if somebody came in here.
Let's check some interesting comment of this video. God made for a reason a man and a woman. A family. So we can be stronger together and support one another. It's so much easier and is more logical.
Yep, but, logic then went out the window when it comes to these modern-day westernized banshees who like to believe that. And again, shout out to the ones who don't, who are in the West. But unfortunately for them, these type of women have tainted the pool for them. And so they have them to thank for the reason that they don't have the options that they feel they should have. So I got a few more things here before we wrap up. And yeah, and a lot of these women were warned. Like this right here.
Like I'm dying from like I'm dying.
So this right here, a lot of these women are lonely, but yeah, this is how they end up.
Like I'm dying from like touch starvation. I feel like if I were to get the kind of hug that I really want, I would crumble into pieces. I don't get hugs. It is. It could be like maybe a hello. Whatever, maybe. But it's not enough. How am I gonna go the rest of my life?
Charles says 4B movement VIP card expired. Oh yeah, definitely.
Like this. I think that's really hard.
And they owe back fees on it as well. So, and Cortez says every time I heard that AI voice, I think of only Logic. Yeah. Shout out to Only Logic. Yeah, he be making those divestor videos, I believe. Yeah, exactly.
There's no. I'm just really struggling. I'm really struggling. Like I spent last night just going like this. Like 20 minutes.
So this is what they're tired of. But again, this is all based on the decisions that they've made. They're tired of the things that they have decided to do. That's what it is. And they're tired of having to fix their own stuff as well, too. They're trying to get things repaired.
This woman drilled through a pipe and water is leaking now from the wall.
Do you know how to call dad? Call dad. I'm serious. Call dad. What do you do to my dad?
They don't need a man until they need one.
I'm seeing so much content on this app about how women's standards for men are raising so quickly because women don't feel like they need men anymore. Something I've been thinking about a lot recently is how, yes, a lot of this shift is economic, like women don't need a man to financially provide for them anymore.
Name 5 things that you have to offer a man.
Nothing, and nothing.
You ain't with that one.
Okay, so this is kind of leading into what I call my reverse dissection. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these women, since they say that they don't have anything to offer and they're tired and they're all of this, that, and the third, then the question has to be raised is, what exactly is it that you are about that a man would feel the need to give up his options to basically rescue you from your tired existence? Because we've already established the fact that you are tired. You're sick and tired. You're this miserable, tired, busted down person who doesn't bring anything. So she's being honest, right? We see that, essentially that's what all these women have been saying. They're emotionally drained, psychologically drained, all of this stuff. So the reverse dissection is they have already shown themselves to not be worthy of any of the men, regardless as to his status. The fact that he's just a man who could be bringing anything to the situation, you are already disqualified. You see that? See, that's the part they've missed, because they're acting like they are not going to accept a man unless he meets these certain requirements, when in reality, you're bringing zero or negative to the equation. So therefore, even if the man is a 1 on a scale from 1 to 10, he's still bringing more than you. So why would he want to bring his positive, even if it's just a 1, to your -1 or your 0, when you've already dissected yourself, and you get on these apps and you get on YouTube talking about how tired you are, talking about how you can't bring anything, while at the same time you're saying that the man has to have all of these astronomical requirements, when in reality, we don't even have to do the dissection on yourself, although we will continue to do that. You have also dissected yourself, as what I call the reverse dissection, because every time they get out here saying stuff like this or expressing themselves the way they do, then they are showing that it doesn't matter the status of the man, because they are openly admitting that they have 0 or negative. So it doesn't matter at that point. They've destroyed their own point about the status of the man, because remember, for the man to even, in their opinion, be in their life at all, he has to bring something, right? They've admitted that. I hope you guys are following what I'm saying, because I'm showing you how they've dissected themselves. And you know, like I said, that's why you guys come over here, because we have a whole different perspective. It nullifies anything that they are saying as far as what they expect the man to do, because it doesn't matter what the man is doing, you know, especially since he does not meet these ridiculous standards that they have. As long as he could be a midget, his height don't matter. He could be a midget. He could be broke. He could be anything. The fact of the matter is the fact that he's just another human being. He's a man coming into your life. He's doing you a favor. His presence is doing you the favor. But you remember how they always try to flip it like it's their presence. If you ask them what they're bringing to the table and they say they are the table, no. You're not the table. You are actually bringing a bill for a table. You're bringing a negative. You're not bringing any type of asset at all. You are openly admitting. I'm going to play it back. This woman just said it right here. They said it right there. They admit it all the time. And like all these videos that I've been showing you is these women admitting that they are essentially bringing nothing to a man's life. They already been busted down. I showed you that. They have already been mentally exhausted. I showed you that. They're morally gone. I showed you that. Because of all the souls that they've been out here collecting, that their soul has been corrupted. I'm showing you that, and I'm showing you how through their words and deeds, they have effectively proven the fact that they themselves are not worthy, regardless as to the man's status. It doesn't even matter what type of man it is. Any type of human being that comes into their life that's a man is a benefit. He's above them automatically. That's the point. And then Cortez says, why are women acting like they started working yesterday? For the past 150 years, most American women work. Exactly. That's like what I said earlier. Just like when they're getting all game goofy about paying bills. I'm like, how old are you? You've been paying bills for the past 30 years. What are you talking about? You acting like this is brand new, like you didn't know you was gonna have to pay a damn bill for all this goofy shit you like to do. You know, you need to pay utilities to be able to do it, right? But somehow it seems like it's all brand new to them. And Israel says they got a multitude of dudes on their phones and still can't get a decent one. Yep, this is why women rarely choose their husbands back in the day. Yeah, that's why ancient cultures did not allow that. Ancient cultures, there was either the father that had to approve it, or it was just always the men choosing. It was never I don't care what culture you want to look up. Most of them had something in play where it was either an arranged marriage, or it was the man that should pick the woman, or the father that picked the woman. That's what it was. And we see how much wisdom those ancient civilizations have, because apparently they knew a lot more than these modern women know about themselves today, because they're finding this out the hard way, and that's why they're tired. But let's get a little bit more before we wrap up.
Economic, like women don't need a map about how women's standards for men are raising so quickly because women don't feel like they need men anymore. Something I've been thinking about a lot recently is how, yes, a lot of this shift is economic, like women don't need a man to financially provide for them anymore.
Name 5 things that you have to offer a man.
Nothing, 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 and nothing.
You ate with that one.
And she talking about she ate with that one, so they agree with it. See, all these bleach blonde bimbo banshees, they all think the same way. Those types, right? So again, that is a reverse dissection. They literally are admitting that the status of the man, so all the BS that they were saying as far as his height, his accomplishments, that means nothing, because regardless as to what his status is, he's still bringing a net positive to the equation, because they demand that, right? They want him to be bringing at least something. They're saying they bring nothing, and they've demonstrated that time and time again. So they are essentially showing that it's them that's the burden, and regardless as to what the man is, as I said, he could be a midget on his knees and be that short, and still he's above them. Because he's still bringing something, right? If he got a job, if he's, whatever. So he's the one that's doing them a favor. So if he decides that he don't want to mix his positive with her negative, then that's a choice that he's making. That's a wise decision. And then Cortez says, even when I live, or he said, even where I live, Indian fathers pick their daughters. Yeah. He said, where I live, he says, I had an Indian that wanted to arrange me to marry his daughter. Yeah. So exactly. So the point is, these cultures, that's how they get down. And you notice that they don't have this level of dysfunction with their women as a result. And they don't have the high rates of divorce and single motherhood that you see in these cultures in the West, right? So let's get a little bit more.
What's going on? Thank you, best friend. Nothing.
What do you need from a man who you're going to take seriously?
Money.
Okay, so she's bringing nothing, but they want money, right? So again, she just dissected herself because she said she has nothing. So a man with money, you're answering your own question as to why you're going to be by yourself, because, if you do the math, you got 0, he has a positive. Even if he got $10, he's still above you. So you're off. He's out of your league. You see how goofy these women are? They think they're being cute or whatever by talking like this, but what they're showing is, regardless as to what the man has or who he is or his status, he's still a better catch than she is, because after all, they bring nothing to the table. And then Shadows says that Cortez, he better have proof that his daughter is a virgin. Yeah, he's going biblical with it, because that's how it was back in the day with that. But yeah, they're way beyond that. But anyway,
that's all you look for. You're not serious though.
I am serious.
So why would a man even want to look your way if you can't?
Exactly. So he asked her the $100 question right there, which is, why would a man want to look your way? So what's her answer?
Add value to his life.
Well, down if you ain't got the bag down.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Ain't trying to spend the money down.
So,
I don't even know what the hell she said. She talked about if he ain't trying to spend no money, don't. Okay. So again, if you're just for sale, then if he just wants to pay the toll and then be on his way, then you guys negotiate that price and keep it moving. Why would he want to have you in his life for anything longer than a nut? You know what I'm saying? So since she put it like that, but when you bring it back to him like that, then they don't like to hear that. But that's essentially what she said. But anyway.
Let's say the man has the bag and he wants to spend the money. What does he get back?
I asked him a question like, what's my favorite color? You know
What is she talking about? Is this broad high?
I'm a strong, independent woman. I could do everything myself and I don't need your help.
Modern women.
I need help.
What do you say?
Thank you.
Sensational.
Girls, when you guys need to change the oil to your car and your man doesn't want to do it,
And these goofy broads are putting fluids in the wrong places. I think one of them are going to be putting water in the engine. It's ridiculous, but yeah.
Man.
Oh my god.
Actually, it looks like wiper fluid, but anyway.
Oh.
Is a man less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch?
We're biased. We're women.
So there's 3 of these bimbos out here, and they can't take the tire off. They got it jacked up some kind of way, but they can't remove the tire between 3 of them, right? It's like a joke. How many does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I can feel my own cooling.
Oh, she's boiling water. While the engine is running.
So she's putting water in the car. She's pouring water in the engine while the car's running. This is ridiculous.
Oh, she's wrecked that Audi.
Oh, cis, heterosexual men, absolutely, especially white men.
What rights do you think that men have that women don't today?
A woman can still walk a street and not feel protected versus a man can't. Women are
Yeah, so anyway, this is more foolery, but
probably like underrepresented.
It's amazing. But yeah, you guys get the idea. This is craziness. But yeah, that's what I pretty much wanted to show you guys, how a lot of these women nowadays, they're tired and sick based on the ridiculous decisions that they've made, and they've done nothing but verify and reverse dissect themselves by admitting the fact that they're not bringing anything to the table, gloating in the fact that they don't bring anything to the table, while simultaneously saying what all the men has to bring, while at the same time complaining about being tired and about all of these decisions and opportunities that they fought so hard to get. And meanwhile, they don't even see the fact that they are becoming victims of their own decisions, and that these decisions is what they're tired of. And so there you go. But it's amazing to me that a lot of these guys who still want to deal with those type of women, to each his own, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that got to live with those bad decisions. But those of you who are rolling over here with the Knight Riders, you know better than that, and you're definitely making strides to do what it is that you do, and salute to you for that. But at any rate, I appreciate you guys for showing up and showing out. It was fire. It was fun. we went in, had some laughs, definitely broke down these situations, got a lot of ground covered. I went a little bit over, I wanted to make sure we kind of went a little bit past the 3-hour mark, because I know we were not here last week, but you guys are still in the house, And it's late where you guys, some of you guys are on the West Coast, so it's probably what, about 2, 3 a.m. where you guys are. So shout out to the real night riders in the house. I still see you guys in the house. And my man Shadow just said, I think him and Cortez are talking. He said, Cortez said, or I think Shadow was responding to Cortez about the Indian chick. He said, he better have proof his daughter is a virgin. And Shadow says, that was years ago. It surprised me. And then Shadow says, I'm hearing that a lot of Indian women are using fake hymen blood to fool men into believing they are virgin. Damn, they could do that? That's crazy. He says, while they got busted down by men, by many men before. Wow, that's crazy. Man, that's some interesting info, Shadow. Man, but you know what? As crazy as that sounds, I have no doubt that that's probably the case. But anyway, thank you guys once again for showing up. I appreciate you. We will be back as per usual next week to break it down the way we always do. We do got some new things we're going to be putting up. We're working on probably a new outro again. We had the intro that we, started, but I think we had a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning, so I don't know if you got a chance to enjoy it. But anyway, we're going to try to see what's going on to try to work out some of the bugs. So I do know that you guys are loyal watchers of the broadcast, and we want to make sure that it is, our topics and our talking points are fire, but we want to make sure that the production and everything is good. So I do make sure that we invest in that as well. We just got to make sure that everything's coming through clear and crisp. But anyway, yeah, it's been cool, been fun. Salute to everybody. And once again, I'm going to end the way we always do. It's not just a broadcast or a podcast, but it's a squadcast. There's a very big difference. Mission complete. Over and out.